when you're not ready. Whose are these? Please take your stuff.
Yep, get that shit off my table. Oh, pretty good. What's wrong with that?
I have the pussy willows on my head.
We got some
Like
fucking light. I know we got enough light. For sure.
Yeah, we have light. I love those lights. If you're taking pictures, everyone ought to have those.
I had to put on my Snapchat that I was having a rough week because I cut this one chick off. But I haven't talked to her all week, so I just said that I was having a rough week. But really, I wasn't having a rough week.
But really, no.
That's the part we don't tell.
Okay, let's get this shit set up. Welcome, 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 welcome. Of course, what was I going to say?
Did we get the comments?
Here, I got a little bit of an outline just to give us a little bit.
Oh, that's nice. You give it to us
Hold
now.
on, we got to do this intro first. Let's check this fucking sound. Oh, it sounds good. Go ahead.
My mic sounds nice.
Sounds
Check
nice.
one.
Hey, hey.
Oh, we sound so good. This microphone sounds so fucking good. Look at, see? I don't know if anybody's commenting, but look at, see how we can't see the comments?
Comment,
It's just
comment.
the people. So we're going to have Bully the Kid watching comments this time.
I think
Oh, no, we got
swipe.
one. We got a comment. No, we got a comment. We can see him. We can see him.
That's just a wave. It's not
We
really-
swipe right or something.
Yeah, but we can see him this time. Remember.
Swipe right.
That is Tinder. Okay. All right, let's do these intros and fire this motherfucker up. Don't let me forget to fucking start this.
Okay.
No, okay. Are we live right now?
No.
Then why are these people commenting?
Oh, we are live. Yeah, I was lying. We are live. Yes.
Oh my God.
Terry, Malika, thanks for watching. Hope Malika's feeling better. I know her back's fucked up.
Ooh, ouch.
How's it sound? Somebody tell me how it sounds on that phone, please.
Check.
Oh, I got the coffee sweat already.
Oh Lord.
Look, I only went with a 16 ounce this time.
Oh my God.
Instead of the 20.
We might just keep it at an hour tonight.
No, we have unlimited time.
Oh Lord. We have an unlimited time. That's almost scary.
No, we do have I think the live will cut us off at 3 hours.
Oh my God, we're not.
So we
doing
got-
that.
we
I'm
got
not
up to
doing
3
that.
hours.
I'm
Yeah,
not doing
I
that.
gotta take pictures and.
Yo! You beautiful motherfuckers,
Come
welcome
into the
back.
podcast.
Welcome back. Episode
Thank you
88
so much.
of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast. Janae said, sounds good. Thank you, Janae. Thanks for
Janae.
somebody chiming in. Episode 88 of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast.
What episode?
88.
88.
Eight.
No, you listen. You complained about being on the 10s for the Q&As. Now it's like you don't want a random number. What number would you like?
100.
100.
The 100th episode.
That's going to be a special thing.
No, we're gonna have to do something crazy for the 100th episode for sure. Forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, upcoming events. Upcoming events. Bangkok, Thailand, March 25th. The Art of Bully ABKC show. It's in Bangkok, MCC Hall, the 4th floor. PM me for contact information. I know we have people from Texas coming. I know we have people from Cali coming. I know we have people right here from the Midwest coming. People from Australia coming. It's gonna be a big event. Bangkok, Thailand, March 25th. Quebec, Canada, June 2nd. Second annual Magic Bully Canada ABKC show hosted by Matthew Kwan. That's going to be in Grenville, Quebec at the Hotel du Lac Carling. We'll see everybody in Canada June 2nd. Euro Nationals July 21st at the Royal Highland Centre in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Is that sold out? Booths sold out, you
Booths
know?
are already sold out for Euro Nationals. It's a multi-breed event. American Bullies, Alapahas, Cane Corsos, English Bulldogs, French Bulldogs, New Age Bulldogs, Oldies, Staffies, Shorty Bulls, and Bull Terriers. If they get enough Bull Terriers registered, So if you have bull terriers, you want to show at Euro Nationals, get on the registration shit ASAP. Contact Sean Main or William Byrne for information on that. Like I said, I think booths are already sold out for that. Also, September, we've got Italy coming up in final negotiations for that one. Your man, the guy, old dad, I'll be in the building. We'll get full info, breeds, dates, venue, get all that going as soon as we get that locked in all the way. Australia in August, Italy in October, and Sweden. Not a date set for that one yet. Let me ask you guys a question. Where are you going to be March 31st? What do you guys got planned March 31st? You interested in some top-level competition?
I prefer.
Always.
Right here in the Midwest, KC, Missouri.
KC.
I mean, you'd think with a name like Kansas City, you got to put that on airplane mode, getting some static.
Oh, I apologize.
Just on the Wi-Fi. If it's data coming through, if it's Wi-Fi, it's fine. But if it's like actual cell phone service, it'll give me static on here.
Apologize.
KC Expo Center, March 31st. The ABKC Heart of America Bully Bash, hosted by Ochoa Bulls. It's also a multi-breed event. American Bullies, Shorty Bulls, Frenchies, English Bulldogs, and Oldies. And all 4 shows will be junior handler friendly as well. There are still a couple of sponsorship slots open and booths. A couple of booths are available. I think ringside's already sold out. That's going to be a big one. Last year, I think every year the Kansas City show is big because there's not really a lot of shows in this area. Like I said, contact Ochoa Bulls, Oscar or Michelle Ochoa. You can PM them on Facebook or call 816-920-3138. Feel free to pause and rewind if you need to write down that after we get done with the live. We get done. It's probably going to be hours, to be honest with you, don't you think?
No.
Listen, we get talking about breed type every time we get to talking about breed type. We go hours and hours and hours.
Always ask me this on the podcast.
If you guys don't know, if this is your first time watching, all the way to the right-hand side of your screen is going to be Christopher James.
Bully the Kid is fine.
Or bully the fucking kid. Bully in the bag, bully the kid.
That's 7.
Okay. Go ahead, continue.
What are you guys doing, passwords and whatnot?
I needed the
He always asks me this on the podcast.
And in the back here is Jamie Sweet. I'm your host, Ty Lumley. Welcome to the first and only podcast dedicated to the bull breeds and the American bully lifestyle. This week we're going to be talking about breed type. A lot of people are... why are people saying left on there? I don't fucking know what it is, left or right. I don't need to know that, left and right. Who needs to know that 2018? My phone will tell me what it's left or right. My phone tells me where to go and where I need to be and when I need to be there. It'll tell me left or right also. Okay, this week we're going to be talking about breed type. It's a kind of a confusing thing for a lot of people, and we even have some... I'm going to say prominent members of our community, and I'm going to put prominent in quotations. But we even have some prominent members of our community saying that breed type is something that the new generation of bully breeders made up. Like, this is a word that we created.
Really?
Like, because these people are pushing quote unquote structure, quote unquote correct. You need correct structure. So the argument is, which I try to explain to people have been arguing movement and structure and breed type for fucking 50 years. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the things Richard Beauchamp, the guy who writes Solving the Mysteries of Breed Type, one of the things Richard Beauchamp wrote the fucking book for was to get over this misconception that people have that structure and breed type are 2 different things, or movement and breed type are 2 different things. You can't have a great example of a breed without the structure, without the movement. But the thing is, that's not all we're looking for. We're not just looking for a generic, 4-legged structure, because if you look at 4-legged animals all over the fucking world, if you look at a generic skeleton, they're all built similar. You know what I'm saying? The shoulders aren't hooked into a joint like ours are. The hips are. The layback of the shoulder blades, the upper arm, the front legs, they're all built kind of similar, all four-legged animals on the planet. So what breed type is everything. Everything about the breed. Everything recognizable about that individual breed that makes it that individual breed is the fucking type of the breed.
It's why Stratton doesn't like a husky, and he can tell you what a husky is.
But that's why he can
What a bulldog
recognize
is.
a husky
Yeah,
at
that's
4
right.
years old. That is breed type. The traits that set that breed apart from every other breed, that is breed type. That's all encompassed. The structure. There's 5 main components of it, and not one of these components has the word structure in it. That's why I want people to understand. And we're going to go through all of these 5 components of breed type. We'll get into that. But why do you think? Yeah, that's a good acronym for sure. We keep that.
Yeah, I got
We'll
it.
say that later.
Got it.
Have you ever seen that acronym before? I think she actually came up with this.
Yes, I
I
did.
just feel a little naked because I have nothing in front of me. So I look like the student that came to class. I don't have a pen. I don't have a pad.
Here,
Could I get you a tablet or
What if
something?
I put these headphones in front of you? Will that make
Yeah,
you feel better?
will that help?
just something, because right now I feel like you guys are asking me questions. I'm like unprepared.
We're just
No, but
on
we've had these
Yeah.
conversations.
Oh, you know what?
100 times
I
about
definitely
breed
don't
type.
need to write it down. I mean, I think that.
But you know, there's a little bit of structure in type when you think of the silhouette.
No,
There's
no.
a little bit of it in there.
But I'm not saying that that's not part of the breed type, because everything is.
Yeah,
everything that
everything.
the written standard says, every word in that standard is part of the type. But people seem to forget that large round bones or a large blocky head, that is part of the type. Where people just see, oh, the shoulder needs to be 45-degree layback, which is almost fucking impossible with a barrel rib cage, but we'll get into that later.
Yes, please, much later.
You understand what I'm saying, though?
Yeah,
But people
yeah.
pick certain things out
Right.
that they associate with generic canine structure and leave out the actual words, the descriptive words that set that breed apart.
Well, I think that in our community, the main thing is breed type has become a generic term.
Yeah, super
So,
generic.
so because it's generic here in the community when you're dealing with novices, do I think breed type is something that the advanced person should understand? No, I think it's a very simplistic thing. However, in a community where you're
people are using it in the wrong context.
right, well,
Really?
that's because we were getting rid of words like Mo Bully and substituting in with breed type. I mean, before
That was a big step.
before
That
breed
was a
type
big-
was just that dog is Mo Bully.
Mo Bully.
So why did he win? Because he was Mo Bully. So now we got rid of that, and bulliness has become breed type. And that's what everybody associates it with. So when you go outside of a breed that you're familiar with, outside the American Bully, and you go see a Greyhound, you then say it lacks breed type because it's not bully. Because that's what they really
But when
believe.
you say greyhound, you're not actually talking about a greyhound. You're
No,
talking
I'm talking about an actual Greyhound. I'm talking about a whipping
terrier.
type.
A
Yeah.
terrier.
Right. Well,
Right.
and that goes back to our community describing things as that dog is. These were the two descriptions that I got when I came into this. That dog is either bully, Mo Bully, or terrier. That was it. There was nothing in between. It said terrier. So when they would describe dogs, you got your reindeer. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Oh,
You got your Mo Bully.
That's how it started.
You got your
That's how it started.
terrier. And once you got that, those were breed types to these individuals. So now when you say breed type and you want them to understand the true connotation of the word, they don't understand it.
No, I agree with that.
So every time they see a dog that is, and this is another thing that confuses them, typey, they get lost. Because they're throwing these words around that they don't understand. It's like
Right.
a kid saying, come over here, but he's saying, sprint over here, walk over here, jog over here, move over here, hop over here, jump over, verb your ass over here. So that's what breed type has become. And
Right.
where we're going later on in this conversation is so much further than I think most people have. So when they look at a litter, I have to go evaluate a litter after the podcast. I'm not going to look in there.
Hashtag dog life.
Yeah, I'm not going to look at this litter of 4 puppies and say, which one has the most breed type? They all have breed type. You know what I'm saying? If I look in there and one of them is lacking breed type, I can't say it on the show, but that probably will be a freebie.
But I feel like that's even another term that's confusing people. Dogs don't lack breed type, right?
No, that's what they say all the time.
No, but you don't
Well,
lack breed type. You lack some traits that would make a great example of
that's
that breed.
synonymous with that breed. Yeah, without a doubt.
You can't lack breed type. A dog either fits the type or it doesn't. And there's a range of styles within the type that we'll get into also, which I think that's what another thing that confuses people, because there's subtypes and styles, a range of styles within these actual breeds and the type itself. But
if a dog lacks breed type, it doesn't say anywhere on any standard DQ for lacking breed type.
Right.
But if a dog lacks breed type, it's DQ. Okay? In my opinion, if I look at a Dalmatian and I can't tell that fucker's a Dalmatian, he's out. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and it doesn't matter how many generations it is
It doesn't
deep.
matter.
Because when you lose type, what do you have?
But there's so
I don't
many
care if
the
it's
5
47.
components of type, which I'm sure you're going to get into in a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit. But I think that it's such a generic term now.
But the
that when
word typey
people- type.
literally just describes a dog you can recognize as that breed. So when somebody says that dog's typey or show me examples of typey American bullies, they're just looking for dogs that you can recognize as an American bully. If you're driving down the street and you can't recognize an American bully 50 feet away, that's probably not a great example of breed type. There's obviously a lot more that goes into it than silhouette.
Can you be a fully correct structural animal? Let me repeat that because
Okay.
Jamie was coughing.
I'm sorry, I've
point.
got a
Can
cold.
you have
Here.
a dog that is
Water?
I have some out here. I thought we were not supposed to have like
Bring,
water.
yeah, you
Water
got
on
a
the
fucking
podcast.
glass of water.
Water.
Try that.
He's got a Gatorade bottle filled with water.
that is filtered water? Listen, can a
It has
dog?
an orange tint like the...
Can a dog? I didn't rinse it out. Can a dog have good quality? To be sound structure wise,
Oh, can I talk? Can I
and
talk?
still be lacking in breed type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could go right down here to the pound. We could go right down here to the Marysville pound and find a dog that's generically correct in structure.
I got an example that
But-
you'll love.
Hold on one second. We could find a dog that's generically correct as far as structure goes. Canine structure.
Right.
That's my water.
General canine structure.
Correct.
Right? But who knows what that dog's gonna be or what it's gonna look like. It could look like a shepherd. It could look like a greyhound. It could look like a beagle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The fact that it's built well structurally has nothing to do
Yeah.
with recognizing that.
It doesn't
type.
matter if it's cowhocked or pigeon-toed or if it's typey.
Right? Those
Are faults.
those are structural faults.
Those are structural faults.
Right.
It doesn't make it less typey, but I was gonna say.
Right. It just makes it not an ideal example, which is what we're talking about. Anyway, I'm done interrupting. It's the third time.
okay.
No, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was gonna say Peaches would be a great example.
She is. Unfortunately, our listeners won't know who that is.
There's some listeners that won't know who that is.
Okay.
Could you please comment?
No, but that is a good example. I feel like I don't know. The easiest way for me to explain it is if you walk by a dog from 50 feet away and you look at that dog and can't within 3 seconds recognize what breed that dog is. It doesn't have good breed type. It's not a typey dog for any breed. And I think this is a problem we're having in oldies and a problem that I see in the Lapahas in the UK and other places. We have dogs coming in the ring that are quote unquote built structurally correct, but you can't tell what fucking breed of dog it is. Some of them look like an American bulldog. Some of them look like a tall English. Some of them don't have a type whatsoever. Have a boxer head and a long.
Those
skinny
dogs
body.
right there, those dogs are not show dogs.
Right.
That's something we need to clarify too. What's a show dog? What needs to? You could probably do something else with it. You should do something else with it because it's not a show dog.
Well, I'm about to upset some people.
Do
Good.
it, please. We've been waiting
I
for
think
hours.
I think the problem is, in this breed, people think breed type changes. And that's going to be when we talk about style.
Oh, God.
But that's the number one problem that
Yeah.
I see.
You're
is
right.
that as a dog becomes more popular, he becomes a breed type.
Yeah.
And I've been around now a decade. You can tell by the
So
gray.
you've seen 5 different types. Every 2 years we have
You're being very kind. I think I've seen more than that. I can almost name them as they came through. From the Kamali breed types, the Hef breed types.
Before Kamali had the Gotti look.
Yeah, and that was before my time. Even the Nemesis look.
Nemesis.
Was before my time.
Then you're in Kamali.
In my time in the American Bully. Thing, which without a doubt.
Which was a different,
But,
even though off of Kamali, completely different head type, proportions were different. Mm-hmm. You know, I only seen Thing one time, but when I seen him, he looked much more Mo Bully.
Yeah, Mo Bully.
To quote
and
one of them.
now he would look more reindeerish.
No, I think Thing is one of the dogs that would stand the test of time. Because he had a bully ass head and a lot of bone.
I saw him as an older thing.
Wide, real rib cage, real wide rib cage. He'd be a nice standard dog right now.
See, and I think that the American Bully is always it's a breed built on pushing the envelope anyway.
Right.
So right now the envelope is verging on becoming a box, like it's a package now. But they keep changing. So when Dax is the breed type, that's what people were looking for. As you move
But who
forward.
said Dax is the breed type?
Well, this is what I think.
I think this is the one breed. I'm sorry, I'm going to let you jump in.
God, I'm
This is-
leaving the podcast.
Oh, God, someone's taking their ball and going home. Listen, this is what I was going to say. Who determines that? This breed is more determined by popularity than any other breed I've ever been involved in.
Yeah.
And that's because the community is so involved through social media, through picture taking, through videos. Who the hot dog is so impactful in this community that it sways breed type in the idea, in the mind of the people that don't know any better. So the show ring used to be, in my opinion, the show ring of the American Bully used to be the cornerstone of what everything was governed by.
Yeah, the standard setter.
At this point, I don't feel that that's happening. I think we're at 50-50, and people are trying to bring those backyard dogs, what I call park champions, into the ring by blending them into other dogs. That's fine. That is fine. If you know what you're doing. If you know, it's no different than saying a dog is a tool. There's no different than saying a dog is a tool.
Okay, but this isn't a tool show.
Right, we're talking about type. We're talking
Not
about
a tool
type.
show.
Say Tim the Tool Man Taylor.
Well,
Don't bring your tools.
It's all governed. Are we saying that breed type is only determined in the show ring?
No.
No, but I'm saying if you're going to have a show dog, it needs to have type, for God's sake.
But the type is set. The type is set way before the show starts, way before the popularity starts. That standard, the written standard. I know people are going to get sick of me saying this.
Thank you about Remy.
But that written standard, that was a stepping stone, another stepping stone. But that standard is the fucking breed type. It is. That's set.
Right.
The popular type, like there's a thing called popular sire syndrome, where popular sires can take over an entire breed because of popularity. But and I see what you're saying, to the general public, that does change the type.
But generally speaking, those popular sires, they take over in a specific realm of that
region, right?
Not even just region, but if it's a show dog, if it's a working dog, if it's a pooling dog, that's
Super good point.
The problem with ours is it takes over everything. Yeah. So suddenly, I'm using Dax as an example.
It's a great example.
It's a common dog, or Remy. These dogs step not only in the show ring, we breed everything that's in the show ring to Dax. We breed everything that's not going in the show ring to Dax. We breed everything to sell puppies in the classified Hoobly section to Dax. Right. That's where it's different. I can use my own dog as an example. Cassius primarily is a show dog. Like, people that come to get puppies off him generally come because they want a show. Okay? That's his effect. He does not have a Dax effect where it goes out and spreads to people that never want to get a ribbon. Wouldn't you agree?
Right.
Like, people that don't really give a shit about a ribbon, I'm not saying they don't care about Cassius. It's just that that's not.
Yeah, they're using city.
Yeah, they'll use a city. They'll use something that they visually like. Right. And that goes back to breed type. And I know I'm trying to throw y'all off a little bit. Visually stimulating is the number one factor in breed type. Right. And that's why we can look at the Bull Terrier of 1910 and the Bull Terrier of 2018 and why they look so different. Because visually, we are changing what breed type is because of what we want the dogs to look like. Would you agree or disagree?
I do, but I would add a little bit of a caveat just to say.
Oh, I like that word.
Just to say that type. Who's to say that those people weren't building the American or the Bull Terrier of today then?
Ooh.
Who's to say that they didn't?
If you guys would have let me talk.
And she can speak to this because
I'm kidding.
because you've actually created a fucking breed, so you can speak on that.
But you say,
who's
we
to
can't say that the Bull Terrier of 1910 was a finished product.
This is what I say to people all the fucking time. I love Kamali. I love Remy. I love Gotti. Those are prototypes. That's not the dog that they wanted to build with that standard. The standard hasn't really said anything different than
Let me
what it
ask you
does
this.
now. They were trying to build Rocco. They were trying to build Maestro. They were trying to build these fucking dogs. Magoo. That's the dog that they seen when they were trying to build an American Bully. Maybe not quite Rocco, Maestro, and Magoo. Because they're a little bit, I mean, that's a pretty bully fucking dog.
I think Rocco is it.
But Rocco's pretty fucking close. And I hate saying that because Khan's going to see this shit. But fuck you, Khan. Rocco is, I mean, that's pretty close to what I believe what they were trying to build for as an American Bully from the beginning. But people attach their whole life and their whole ideals to Kamali or to Gotti or Hef. Speaking of Shorty Bull, people attach their whole fucking life and their whole ideals to Hef, saying this is it. That's the Shorty Bull.
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's not just one dog that's, it either.
No, but what I'm saying is like when you built the base and the foundation of Shorties, let's use Panda for an example.
Yeah, you do use tools, and yes.
Was Panda your ideal finished product?
No.
Or Moby?
No,
But if somebody jumped on the train
that
then...
happens all the time.
Right.
But why does it happen?
Because they like that dog. Oh, going back to what you just said, they're visually stimulated by that specific dog.
Hey, it may not even be that. They may have that dog. That's probably what it is.
Right.
Hello, they have that dog. That's what they have.
Or access to it.
Yeah.
So is breed type less important?
But hold on before you start that. But going from then to now, did you envision dogs that look like Moby and Panda, or dogs that are the modern day Shorty Bull?
When you read my standard, the first one ever written, it said, little tank should resemble a little tank. Who's a little tank? Who?
Broncos, Skids.
What would you envision? What's a little tank tell you? Think it's tall? Do you think it's lean? No.
No, little, thick, bulky, stocky,
low to the ground.
compact.
So, yeah.
Square. Looks like a cube. Square from the side, square from the front, square from the top.
A long nose.
Yeah,
The shooting part. No. I'm sorry. I digress. That part is not. That's the tail. 1/6 of an inch to the hock.
Yeah,
1/6 of an inch. That's an inside joke.
Shooting that way.
1/6 of an inch to the hock.
No, but here's another thing.
What? Wait.
Yeah,
Who the fuck 1/6 of an inch to the hawk? That's a pretty fucking specific standard right there.
That's
dude.
pretty specific.
Just in parts. Just in places.
Yeah.
Just in places. Go.
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry. But look,
this is what I was gonna say. A lot of people say to me, "Do you have Rampage on ice?" Blah 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 blah. No, I don't. Why don't I?
I don't know.
Because I'm not going that way. I'm not going
on that
backwards.
page.
I'm going that way.
Right.
So,
and you do say all the time, sometimes you have to go back to the well, but your quote unquote, and what she means by going back to the well is like if Rampage is the foundation, you get too far away from Rampage, sometimes you got to go back to Rampage to lock some shit in. But your well moves forward as you move forward in generations. So Rampage shouldn't be the well 10 generations away from Rampage. There should be another male in there somewhere that you go back to and say that this is the well
and you
now.
should be constantly, improving. I mean, I just feel like now I got to that point. I got where I want to be right now.
Well, at some point, let me ask you this. Then.
Hold on. Before we get any farther, share the fuck out of this. I forgot to say that at the beginning. Tell your people too. Share the fuck out of this.
My people are your people because I'm on Bull-NA-ChinaShop.
God damn it.
But when I go to my
share. I love your faces.
I don't really like the way you ordered them to do that. I think people like to be talked to nicer. But
by me?
By anyone.
They should be used to that shit by now. We're 88 episodes in.
So listen. This is what I was going to say, though. With going back to what we were discussing about time, let's use the Bull Terrier. And I'm basically here just to stir the pot.
No, but it's good. That's good.
Here's the question.
Even if
We
it's
said-
devil's advocate standpoint, I have no
Yeah.
problem with that. Let's do it.
Definitely. But if we go back to the Bull Terrier and say that they weren't finished and maybe what they're doing now is what they want, they would never go back to that old style Bull Terrier and implement it in the thing.
Right.
So here's the question about breed type, because that's what we're talking
I
about.
like the Bull Terrier
At
example.
what point is that dog too far back that it now lacks breed type? Or should breed type be flexible? What some people are saying is breed type should never be flexible. So if Rampage has is
That's a
breed type,
fucking super good
we
idea.
can't say he no longer has it.
Okay, that's right. I agree with you. That's why.
Boom, write it down.
No, that's a fucking hell
No,
of a
that's
point.
true,
dude.
but that's why a standard needs to be elastic until you get where you're going.
So you're saying right now the Labrador standard is no longer elastic. That is what a Labrador should be.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
probably
know
pretty,
about a
pretty
Labrador.
I'm
set.
just using that an old
I'm
breed.
talking
even
about.
if
Let's
you
use
look
the
at
English
this-
Bulldog.
No,
Let's
let's stay with the Bull Terrier theme.
Okay.
Because if you look at a Bull Terrier now, they have a functional dog that'll still work, that has the look that they wanted, that intelligence they wanted, the character they wanted. They have a functional, healthy, well-built dog out of all this horrible changes that have been made. I'm not saying you said that, but
Yeah, but you
the
can
majority
find
of
out
people
all
that view the changes from
But-
1905 to now, oh, look how we've ruined the breed. They haven't ruined the Bull Terrier. The Bull Terrier is a stout, sturdy, healthy motherfucker that will still go out there and work. So maybe those dogs then, in the prototype phase, because I feel like the breed goes through a concept phase, a prototype phase, and now we're manufacturing the breed.
And it slides off this way, and it slides off
Right.
that way,
Right.
Because it's popular, and it gets picked up by people who really don't know what they're doing. I hate to say that, but you know.
Why do we hate to say the truth?
No, but that's a very real part of it. But I feel like it goes through three phases: the concept phase, the prototype phase, and the actual manufacturing of the fucking breed. These are the breed here.
And what we're talking about right now, this is why everything needs to be synergistic with the standard.
Right.
You understand the standard, breeders breed to the standard, judges judge to the standard, newbies are influenced by the right dogs that fit the standard, that have been judged by the standard, bred to the standard, and promoted. That's where we kind of...
But at the same time, that's what happened with some of these concept phase dogs, or these prototype phase dogs. Like we were saying about Remy, or we were saying about Hef. Those are prototype phase dogs. That's not a finished product. That's not manufacturing the actual breed. Mm-hmm. It is at the time,
Right.
for right now, in this
to get there.
moment,
Yeah.
to get where we want to be. This is a great example of the breed. This is what close to what the breed type is. We just got some minor fucking improvements to make. But people get attached to these prototype phase dogs, and that is the breed type. Kamali is it. Kamali is it. Kamali is it. I love Kamali, but Kamali is not it. He is not an ideal example of the breed. Close. I love him. Not bashing him, but not an ideal example of the breed. If you put Kamali and Rocco in the same ring, you're going to see a noticeable differences. Are they still both within the range of styles for the breed? For sure. 100%.
Well, to me, those
we're
are
talking
two-
about the ideal breed type for the breed.
Those are two dogs, in my opinion, regardless of visually stimulating the whom. Once again, that goes back to that exemplified breed type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, both awesome American bullies.
I think that.
If we're talking about ideal,
I mean, but I'll drop back further now.
it's
and
still
say
it's still a stepping stone. Kamali was one of those stepping stones, and a major stepping stone, which is one that we're glad to have the breed built off of.
Yes, I would say that, but I would also think I'm a purist, and I like to believe that those dogs of yesteryear should still be able to come in and immediately be identified as American Bully. If it were possible to bring them in at their prime and Rocco in at their prime, I'm not talking about an old Kamali versus a young Rocco.
No, you'd still be able to recognize him as a bully for sure.
That would be an American Bully. That's where
Hef in his prime right now, walking into a ring, would you say? I know for a fact Rampage, even though he's, maybe even part of your prototype phase, but Rampage walk into a ring right now, and you're going to say that's Shorty Bull. No question. Hef walks in his prime, you're going to say that's Shorty Bull. Even though it's not ideal, still great example.
Well, what happens to those dogs, really, in my opinion, is they go from being an oddity or a rarity
The outlier.
I'll use my dog as an example with Cassius. When Cassius began showing, everyone was like, "Oh, I've never seen a top line like that in my life. No shorty bulls have that." Well, now the shorty, that's what everybody goes for. So you see more and more of that.
Right.
So now it's not that they're outdated; it's that it's become so consistent that if you were to walk in the ring with Rampage now, and all the dogs are now more half an inch to 3 pounds from each other, he would look like an oddity because he would look different.
And all that is fine tuning, because this breed, you know, it evolved. It evolved. I don't even want to say it evolved.
I don't even want to say it. I just want to say that there's a scale.
We fine tuned it, you know.
Yeah, well, people miss out on that there's a scale in anything. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm a black man.
Which is funny.
It doesn't matter if I'm light skinned or dark skinned. I'm still a black man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do with dogs. It's the same thing with people.
True.
And I'm not saying that to my racist people out there.
No, there's twos and tens.
Yeah. So
there's twos and there's tens.
So
there's still a fucking person.
Right.
But it's just not an attractive person.
Well, no,
you
it's
know
not a very attractive person. You black man, there's growth over 200.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm joking.
I'm saying
I'm just
like
trying to get you paid.
Another example of what you're talking about is if you're a group of women talking about, you know, rating dudes like, oh, he's cute, he's a 6. It's still a motherfucking man.
9, yes.
It's still a man.
Exactly.
It's just not, you know, if it's a 4, it's just not a great example of
it. Right. Now, if we go through it, but that's the other part of breed type, is this scale. And we lose.
And it's subjective, too.
It is very subjective, but it shouldn't be because of the standard. Like, we shouldn't be able to look and say, that dog's a little Dalmatian-y to me.
But
he lacks Dalmatian.
Here's another thing that affected why people are so screwed up now. This make everybody happy because they drove 10-hour shit. If it's not it, it's not it. But what happens a lot of times?
Appeasing the community, the population.
Because why? Because, you know, we need everybody to get together and all that.
It's because people will throw a fit and not show up to the next
why is that? Because, you know, it's like epidemic now. It is terrible. It wasn't like that years ago. I mean, when you were new, you were lucky to get spoken to.
Right.
Really. You didn't just go in and it was glitter and shine. And
you definitely didn't expect to go and win.
No, not like today. So I think partly the blame has to fall on
participation trophies.
Yeah.
But don't you think also the standard?
I mean, I think that stuff's great, and it should be for 4-H.
Well, there's so many levels of the standard.
Even though there's a written standard, we could read the same standard, and we're going to have 2 different ideals in our brain. It's going to be pretty fucking close. But what I see as, okay, let's use American Bully standard. What I see as large, round bones might not be as large as what you see as large, round bones.
Correct.
So your ideal type could be a little bit off. It's still going to be the same overall picture. It's still going to be the same overall look.
Well, American Bully people are spoiled as shit, and this is why. In every other registry, you're going to have multi-breed judges.
Yeah.
So what you just said makes perfect sense. Because
I'm a multi-breed judge, motherfucker.
I understand that you are, but what I mean by multi-breed is they breed other breeds of dogs. You are a multi-breed judge, but other breeders of other breeds of dogs. So, for example, if I breed Chihuahuas...
Oh, so you're saying breeding Chihuahuas and judging
them as
dachshunds.
Right. Yeah, there you go.
Right.
So if I breed Chihuahuas and I see a bully walk in the ring, whether it's Kamali Thing or Maestro or Bistro, whoa, that dog's got hella bone. Okay? I breed Chihuahuas, for crying out loud.
Right.
If you come in the ring and I breed Mastiffs, that dog's lacking a little bone right there, a little dainty.
But that comes down to preference. That's not even interpretation.
But it comes back to reading the standard in the words. So if it says large bone, and that's what I'm used to, that may not be large to me.
No, that's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're going to define that from your perspective.
There you go. If you get some Basset Hound judges in there, and you want them to really judge good length of leg, it's human nature for them to be like, looks pretty good. Man,
I would get some different judges, really.
You would, but what I'm saying, when you're reading standards, those are things that when you're talking about the scale of breed type. So if I'm like, the head should look heavy, and I look at Bistro, I said, wow, he's got a pretty heavy head for what I'm used to. When I came into the American Bully, I came from Pit Bulls. All of these dogs looked Mo Bully to me.
Right.
All of them. Now, I've been here for a decade, And I love all my pit bull people, but when I look at pit bulls now, they're lacking to me. They are lacking. So, Jamie, you know, I was going to buy a Doberman. I've been around shorty bulls and bullies so long now. When I look at Dobermans, they look refined to me.
You couldn't find a bully, enough.
I couldn't find a bully Doberman.
I like rat terriers, but they were a little bit
maybe
bully.
you want a Rottweiler.
They're not supposed to be real bully.
They're not.
No,
but
that's
to
what
me,
we're saying.
back in the day when I was having those dogs, those were big, impressive dogs.
Especially how deep their chest is and the big rib cages and shit.
But my mind now is so construed towards bully dogs.
Yeah, it's like conditioned.
That when I look at something with a longer nose, I'm saying shit like, God dang, that Doberman is snipey. You know what I'm saying? Why is that whippet so snipey?
Man,
one thing
pinhead.
that her and I talk about a lot is one of the hardest things for a judge to do is separate that right there
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
from what it really is supposed to be.
Yes.
To separate your, I don't even want to say that's not really preference. That's defining or interpretation through your perspective.
There you go. Yeah.
That's not really preference. That's just you're doing your best from your perspective to find that ideal example.
And the words, this is what I tell people. When you're reading a standard, this is not second grade, first grade. This is reading words. This is not a picture book.
That's where you lost them.
This is where you have to read the
That's where you
words
lost
and
them.
imagine what the
Right.
dog should look like. I want you guys to go read a standard, even if you can't draw a lick. Just read a standard or have someone that's close to you take a standard, read it to you, and you draw what the hell they're describing.
That's a great exercise.
You know what? We did this with the trophy, and it was crazy.
Oh, God.
The trophy?
That was a mutant.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
Yes.
Trying to describe this to a guy.
That has no idea.
Yeah,
That has no idea.
Orlando's here, and he did not understand.
Yeah.
The guy was not a shorty bull guy.
He was not.
We're describing it.
Yeah, I
and-
don't even think he was really a dog guy per se. You know?
Yeah, no. And I was using
This
words like
was so-
gargoyle-ish.
I mean, listen, this was like a game show, and it was so cool to do, but
It was the worst game of Pictionary.
it was horrible. It was so hard.
If you were saying words like gargoyle,
Hey, that was after we were like, okay, the chest needs to be a little bit deeper and wider.
it's pretty good.
What's a deep
base
chest?
to start with, though?
Yeah.
You know, if you start with a gargoyle and
Oh my
change a
gosh!
few things.
I wish Orlando.
Well,
Is Orlando on?
Orlando is
Orlando.
here. He was here. But I'll say that I just talked to Rolando about
He needed to put the
shorty
beginning
bull
picture
standard.
and,
And we were looking
hold
at
on.
pictures, and he's like, what's missing? And I love the shorty bull. But I tell you, when you look at something and it's drawn wrong, you can say,
Yeah.
this is wrong. And then they're like, well, what should we fix? And you're like, slant his head down a little bit, pop that nose
That's
out,
how
stick
you
your chest out.
really. You
And
guys
then it
need to
comes-
do
But
it.
that's where the universal terminology comes in, where it's like if everybody don't know those, if everybody doesn't know what a stop is, if you tell a sculptor it needs to have a deeper stop,
Deeper stop. They're like, what is
what
that?
the fuck is a stop?
Yeah.
So I
No,
think,
the stifle's all wrong.
I think with
Huh?
established breeds,
The
I think
rifle.
it's easier.
His hawks need to be so much shorter. What's a
Established
hawk?
breeds are easier to do breed type 1 because we're all aware of that. You know, in our
Well,
mind a little bit.
and you know,
Some
how
breeds
much
it's
do
difficult.
beagles really change that much over time?
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah.
and that goes back to your point earlier about are they still functional?
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you now, there's different types of breed type. You know what I'm saying? If
I've
I'm
actually
looking,
got form follows function written down right
And another
Yeah.
thing we have to remember
because
too
people
is,
are way off on that. People
but
do
a lot of
not
people, when
understand
you're
that.
talking about a breed and they don't know
That's
what
a
the
tough
function
one.
is,
That
and,
is-
and this is what I used to
we
always
talk
say
about
about
that
the
all the time.
American bully. It's bred to do what? You see
and
what
they
I'm saying?
don't
To
have a
look good.
job anymore.
It's bred to look good.
Right.
That is it, motherfuckers.
So if that's all it's bred to do, when we read that standard, and you're talking about the functionality of the breed, is it function enough to walk across the room, to jump on the couch, to play 5 minutes of ball?
Oh, if that motherfucker can walk around the block and stop traffic on all four corners, that's all it needs to do.
And the people are going to argue with you now.
That's all it needs to do.
is
Now,
that the
if you have an American bully that can do 60-foot dock jumps, that's awesome. I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing that,
And you're an
but I'm saying the
exception
minimum
to the-
is you need to be able to walk with me. I'm a big guy, probably going to walk half mile
Is
max.
the standard for the minimum?
No, but as far as function goes, if we're talking about what's the dog's function, the dog's function is to be a family companion.
Right.
The definition of family companion is about as wide as the fucking IOEBA oldie standard. You understand what I'm saying?
Pretty wide. I don't rate it, but yes.
The definition of Okay, I like to go hiking. I spend 6 hours a fucking week hiking in the hills. If you want an American Bully, you're probably going to have to lean toward the. If you want to still have a dog that fits in the breed type and fits in the range of styles, you're probably going to have to lean a little more toward a leggier dog because of what you want, the function you want that dog to do. I don't need that. I don't go hiking.
Well, yeah, let's not
We do
be
short
impossible.
But that goes back to ideal. So the fact that dog can do that is not ideal for its breed.
The fact that dog can hike 6 miles is not the standard that we need to set for the whole breed, because that's not the purpose behind it.
Yeah, that's the exception. But here's the thing. You know, judges need to be breeders. We have a lot of breeders. Do you know the purpose of breeding?
I think judges being breeders fucks them up more than anything else.
Well, they should just breed a whole... I mean, this is going to sound bad.
Breed type. We're talking about breed type.
When you're a breeder and you breed a lot of dogs, that's the thing that we're missing here. Breeding a lot of dogs drives these things home to you. It's hard to imagine all these things when you haven't bred a lot of litters, unless you're someone, you know, like this guy here, you know. I don't want to get that going.
0 litters.
Wait, lot.
Not 1 litter.
No.
Lot is perspective. I've had some
Yeah.
there's some rescue people out there.
Never even collected a dog.
I don't care.
Not one collection.
I will listen.
No jerky. Not one jerky.
Actually photocopy proof of that has happened.
His evaluations are good.
But you know what? It's no different than this.
Yeah, but you're an outlier. You're an outlier. You're more intelligent than 95% of this community, myself included.
Yeah, 98%, but yes, I agree.
And you understand what I'm saying?
No.
You're going to understand if we put you in a fucking quantum physics class, you're going to get lost at some point, but you're going to be able to understand basically what's going on.
At that point,
be able to pick it apart.
Yeah.
I'll be lost pretty quick.
Most subjects, most areas in life, a person like this, with a mind like that, you're going to be able to go and understand. The majority of the world, no offense to me included, are not like that.
Well, I'm going to say this.
The majority of the world don't have that brain.
It's a purpose, too. So I'm sorry. When I go and evaluate these puppies, there's 4 puppies. I'm going to evaluate them. When I go there, Jamie already knows what I'm looking for. Everything with me is standard based. So my mind is not the mind of how this dog is going to benefit me in the whelping box. So Jamie picks up on things that I may not see and say that, hey, this puppy I like, Chris, because even though you like that puppy, he's an oddity. He's not going to reproduce this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because he's not this. That's something that I think the hands-on experience of years and years of seeing puppies is there. I look at puppies like this. I go in. I don't need to look at all of the puppies. I want to see the best puppies, the 2 best, side by side. That's all I need. I don't care.
But what makes them the best?
Well, for me. No, listen. What makes
there
you go. When you talk about, and I'm not reading that because I can't see that far, but breed type, attitude, there's a lot of things that go in there. But they're instant.
Your brain instantly processes that. Symmetry, balance,
right.
Proportions. Your brain instantly processes that. Where for me, for a long time, it wasn't an instant thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I bet for you, for the first.
So what
few
was the
litters,
sign off for you when you would look at a puppy? You got 4 or 5 puppies in the box. You look at them. What was your X factor? Was it the head? Like, ooh, head's bad. Ooh,
it's all balance. It's all.
I mean, when you first started, not now, because we have a lot of people that are just starting.
I went off the. We have a connection. Ooh. This puppy won't stop looking at me, and we have a connection. Oh, that's my puppy.
It came up and licked me and wanted me more.
I'm not even joking around, and that was a terrible mistake.
If that's how you pick your puppy.
It chose me. Did you see it jump up and walk right
to
me?
Was
I put it in the middle of the floor, and it came to me. It's God given. That's what's supposed to happen.
Right.
Did you go through the same process?
Have you ever picked a puppy like that?
No.
You never let a puppy pick you? God, but you're a liar. Skids picked you. Skids picked you. I remember.
I saved Skids' life.
He licked your foot, and you said, he licked me.
No, but she had the advantage of having a 30-year dog man introduce her to
I didn't even get to pick shit till I was like 43.
You know what I mean?
So are people picking dogs?
Dad was gone.
So when we got these new people and they're looking in and they're picking dogs, it really goes by what they're picking. I tell people all the time when they come get a dog from me, I said, look, you're better off letting me pick based off what you want than you picking yourself.
I think that.
I'll let you pick yourself, but I think I told this story on the show. The worst mistake I ever made was with Rolando Mata when I was begging him to help me pick, and I had first pick. And he's like, "Oh man, just whatever." And I let that dog pick me almost. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I did it the first 2 litters I ever had. Oh, this is the one. Look at him. Eye contact. That's us right here. This is us right here.
Is breed type something you can see at 8 weeks old?
100%.
At 6 weeks old?
100%. The second they come out of the vagina, if you ask Jamie Sweet, the second they come out of the C-section, she knows what one she's picking. I'm not there yet. And ideally...
But you can say that, I mean, I'm pretty good at that, don't you think?
Fuck yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty accurate.
It actually pisses me off.
So you're saying...
to be honest with you.
At what age, if you're not Jamie Sweet, at what age can you pick on breed type?
If you're not Jamie Sweet, if you're not Rob Lee, if you're not Ty Lumley, if you're not Bashar, if you're not Dave, if you're not somebody that's been doing this shit that has made this your whole life for the past 10 years, you need to pay attention. You need to really sit down at 6 weeks. Don't even look at them until they're 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. Once they hit 8 weeks, don't even look at them. Stop looking at them.
And you know what else goes way into that?
But 6 to 8 weeks, in my opinion, don't even look at them until they're 6, 7, 8 weeks.
If you haven't grown them up past that, it doesn't make any difference yet.
No, I agree with that.
Doesn't make any difference.
I agree with that.
You have to keep records. You have to document. You have to look at it now. And this is what, when you start, you have to have a lot of litters because you have to grow these up and remember then what they look like.
Can I have my own style in a breed? Can I look at a breed? Because this is where we're getting people lost. I understand listen to the standard. I understand listen to the founder. I understand listen to the judge. I understand listen to the guy selling me the dog. But I'm here to create something. And that's what 99% of people listening to this podcast want to do. Can they have their own individual style and still feel like they created something and put a spin on it that is their very own, that separates Double L from Blue River or from Signature? Is there anything they can do? People ask me that all the time. They're like, Chris, all you do is buy Blue River dogs. So really all you have is a Blue River look. I think that there are...
I don't breed dogs anyway, motherfucker.
Yeah, so now, listen, when you talk about that, though, is there a way to be within the standard and still add your own style?
There's a lot of ways to do that, but the first thing you have to do... is know what you want. You have to know. You can't change your mind every time a new dog comes around.
I agree.
You cannot do that.
Let me repeat that for James Sweet. You cannot change your whole plan with dogs because now you've seen Magoo. So if you started off and you were running Remy, and that's what you wanted, Remy was your ideal dog. Shout out to my boy Fabian. I ain't talked to Fabian, but I can see that things have crossed. Now, when you
but we all know he started that as a marketing. It wasn't He was not trying to build a program. He was trying to build a legacy and a name and a company and a brand.
I understand that he did that, and I like Fabian. We're cool. But he had people buy into that product.
100%.
Okay?
100%.
So if I got Remy line on my arm, and I got Remy line on my chest,
that's a lot out there.
That's my ideal dog, I want there to be some accountability.
But what does the founder have to do with your vision and your style of dogs?
Ooh, that's a good
Just
one.
Because he went to exotics doesn't mean you have to change what you're breeding.
I think that's
Continue
why
to breed dogs that look like Remy.
I think people are so lost.
Well, they shouldn't be.
Nah, I don't think people are.
Point,
I think we're not giving people enough credit.
I think when we do that, when we start switching it up so far, and don't get me wrong, my mentor in Shorty Bulls is Jamie. We've argued about dogs a lot. But I'll say this.
And also, she's not a trend follower. She's a trend setter. Cool. She's going to change the style, if anything, not follow the style.
Right. Well, the style, when we talk about breed type and style, what I'm trying to get across to the listeners is not so much for me as for them who will be at home asking this question. They invest $20,000, $30,000 in American Bully. They came in and they invested with Remy. 5 years later, now everything is Magoo, and they feel left out because now they have reindeers that bark too much and nobody wants them and their market has dropped. How can someone stay true to the breed and still be relevant in a breed when everything is changing so rapidly?
Well,
That sounded just like a TV host there.
You did.
I feel like you're Andy Cohen and we're on the motherfucking Real
Wait,
Housewives
is Andy Cohen
after
the
party.
gay dude?
I don't know. I made that name up. Is that
That's a real person.
well, shout out to Andy Cohen.
He's not watching.
Andy Cohen.
He is
not
not
watching.
watching it.
But no, he's cool. But no, you see what I'm saying? Like, I can look at your. I'll use your dogs as an example.
Uh-oh.
Now, this is what I'm going to say live on the air. You've always had a penchant for. We're using all kinds of words here. So if you have a book,
Penchant.
Get your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Get your fucking
but you've
thesaurus.
always had a penchant for extreme dogs. You know what I'm saying? Even your clean. When I hate the word clean, but Francesca.
I hate the word extreme.
All right. Well, Francesca to me was a very solid show dog. I mean, structurally sound.
Yeah, built well.
But at the time, for a bitch, when you saw her with apple teens and bitches in her time frame, juicy fruit, she was still a little more bitch. Okay, she was still more bitch.
Yeah.
So you've always had a penchant for that style. Maestro. People say, "Oh, well, Maestro." No, to me, Maestro is still an extension of Jackpot, who's still an extension of Magnet. Those are all big time dogs. Those are what you're looking for. I could almost tell a Lumley dog when I saw it, regardless of height or anything like that. That's what you bred for. Robert Lee is a pocket guy. I can almost see. Now, over time, because I met Robert when he had Homie, but now after going to his yard at the Bully Market, I see the consistency there and exactly what he's going for. I think that we have people that don't know themselves yet what they even like, and they're teaching other people, and that's why breed type is such a convoluted thing, because you can't spot breed type when someone on their yard has dogs that are 17 different ways from different.
Right.
17 different ways.
But people focus on the height and don't focus on the type.
Exactly.
People I want all my whole yard to be 13 inches.
That's
They got 6 different looks in that.
That's inexperience. Someday we have to address that. That's inexperience right there. That's all that is.
Right.
When we get some solid people that've been around a while and
got water?
bred a lot of dogs, watched a lot of dogs grow up, took dogs out of the program because they didn't fit. Who even does that? Nobody.
3 times.
Okay, that we got to have some people in charge that know what they're doing, and
I feel like this.
somebody's got to drive.
I feel like that's
That's
one
what
of
I
the reasons
feel.
why you kept tight handle on a lot of the shorty bull activities.
I wanted the breed safe when I'm done.
Right.
Okay, you can believe it. You don't have to, but if I didn't want it safe, what's that going to do for me when it's a free for all? I'm not even going to get to 20 years. I'm going to get right here to 5. That's it.
Right.
I have to make it safe for people who are new.
And you've bred 3 programs worth of fucking dogs.
And if you look at all 3 of my breeds, you can see similarities in all 3. I didn't change my mind even one time. Really.
Right. No, and I think, but I
Muscle
think that's
bone.
super important because you knew what you wanted going in. You knew, and through breeding experience, you knew how to get that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's, like Chris was saying, if the popular dog changes every 18 months,
Yeah.
if you don't have a set vision in your mind, you're going to jump on every fucking
You are,
hype train
and that's
that rolls
because
by.
you're new until you figure out what you want.
Right.
You know. Now listen, when I was in American Bulldogs, I swore I would. That was the breed for me forever, forever, forever. And my mentor said, "You're gonna be surprised when your eye changes." Oh, mine wasn't going to. Never. I would never be without that breed. But then I was. You know.
But instead of trying to I'm so glad you said that. So instead of trying to take that American Bulldog and turn it into a shorty bull, you got rid of the and what the reason I say that is because people are trying to take their American bullies and turn them into something else, exotics or whatever you want to call it. Instead of doing that, instead of trying to take that American Bulldog and turn it into a shorty bull, you got rid of the fucking American Bulldog and went and made shorty bulls. Mm-hmm. But the base behind that, the whole fucking, your whole backbone behind that was the fact that you knew what you wanted going in. You knew the type, you knew the standard, you knew the fucking breed before you went in.
And it wasn't on shorty bulls. I'd done all that other stuff first. And that's really important because you learn from all those things.
Right.
A lot of our people, have they had another breed? No.
This is a comment from our people listening. We're over 50 people. When creating a breed, you have to have strict rules and guidelines to establish and maintain that look. The founder or creator, I'm sure is what he means there, has to rule with an iron fist. The American Bully is an effing free-for-all. That's why it's all over the place.
I disagree with that, Ariel. I feel like in the beginning, you need to have as wide of a fucking scope as possible so you can build the gene pool. But you still have to have control. So I agree with half of that. You have to have, like Jamie's saying, you have to have a large number of dogs so you can build the gene pool, but you also have to have a little bit of control over it. I don't think that's why the American Bully's a free-for-all. The American Bully's a free-for-all because we have too many people that want to just say, this is my vision, and do whatever they want. Well, because the people who came in before us, the Elite Edge and all these guys that everybody looked up to, did whatever the fuck they wanted, and then people got attached to their look, and then people after them did whatever the fuck they wanted, and people get attached to their look. I don't think it has anything to do with the numbers of the breed. I think it has more to do with people jumping on the hype train and not having any idea what the hype train's about.
But think of the persona of the American Bully. People got on that because, I mean, look at that when it came out.
I think a lot of our communities is deep in hip-hop culture, too. I think that's another spin that it gives us, another different twist. And I say hip-hop culture, I'm talking about the...
But it was different than any
revolutionary kind of feeling behind it. You know what I mean? Like you don't accept us? Fuck you. We'll do it our own
that is the biggest problem with the American Bully.
I mean,
you don't like my shit? Fuck you. I'll do my own
thing. But then you have the OGs also that were saying things like, pay attention to your own yard. Yep. Don't look at what other people are doing. That is the total thing that's wrong. I agree with you need a large enough gene pool, but I think that gene pool has to be controlled.
How many rat terriers are there right now? How big is that gene pool? Nobody knows. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
nobody cares.
Well, there's some people
that care. Shout out to the rat terrier people. I know you care.
The Decker Giant people care.
No one fucking cares about rat terriers.
Wait, Courtney Russell's mother is a rat terrier breeder.
No one gives a fuck about rat terriers.
Courtney Russell's mother.
Look at Google trending right now. Tell me where rat terriers are at.
This is where I'm
at the
checking
bottom.
out on rat terriers.
0 people give a fuck about rat terriers.
Those people are crazy.
Now listen. Thank you.
The boy's like, no, you're about to get shot. No.
The rat terrier.
But no. What I'm gonna say is this: the implosion
I don't even know
or
what my
lack
point
of
was
retail.
behind the rat terrier.
I feel like you have some pent up aggression.
Your
against the rat
negativity
terrier.
The rat terrier.
I know my point now. I know my point now. What I'm saying is, the population at the beginning of any breed, let's say one of the newest AKC breeds, the Walker's Coonhound, right? Was just accepted in the Westminster like 7 years ago.
It's an old breed. It was just brought in.
Just accepted.
Yeah,
look how long it took to get to that point, to build the gene pool, to be diverse enough, to have a consistent enough a look, to get into that.
Well,
Westminster fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but also,
how many years did it take? How many dogs? How big was the gene pool before they got to that?
Well, let me rain on the AKC parade a little bit, because sometimes we get a little too godlike with them. A lot of
I was saying Westminster. That's a Westminster breed club. That's not AKC. That's Westminster
but what I'm
breed
saying
club.
is they didn't want that.
Right?
You see what I'm saying?
We used to sign petitions against that.
Coonhounds didn't want that because Coonhounds were in the UKC as one of their first breeds after the Pit Bull. They didn't want AKC at all. They fought against it.
We used to sign petitions not to go there.
But let me read this real quick.
But that's the Westminster Kennel Club. That's not the AKC.
Go ahead.
The Westminster show is not the AKC. That's a Westminster Kennel Club.
It is, but it's an AK. The dogs have to be registered.
It's a shoot off. I'm just saying. It's.
This one says, I feel the term vision is a cop out. This is about my man Eugene Hobbs. I say my man loosely because I don't know who he is. But it says,
I fucked with Eugene.
You messed with Eugene. He says, I feel the term vision is a cop out. It should be interpretation of the standard. I don't see the American Bully becoming consistent with so many classes. Should only be pocket and standard only. This person says,
listen,
this person, I can take off that Eagles gear. I won. Congratulations. No, all year long. That's going on.
We're way off.
Tell me America's dog will always be the original Pit Bull. Eli, Mayday, Bolio, Boudreaux. A real dog man, Don Mayfield, Maurice Carver, Floyd Boudreaux, Tom Gardner. They were true creators of the bullies.
What the fuck does that have to do with breed type, Joe? Where are we at? What does that have to do with breed type?
I'll say this, and I'm going to be fair, because purists are found in
If you look at all those different, if you look at an Eli Carver dog and a Boudreaux dog, those motherfuckers don't even look the same.
Listen, I agree. I had a snooty dog. They were very different.
Yo, look at a Niggerino dog.
Listen,
Completely different.
that's true.
All I'm saying is that has
Thanks
nothing to
a
do
lot,
with breed
Joe.
type. Come on, Joe.
Joe, this man is just attacking the entire rat.
Come on, bro.
community. He's
Come on,
on
Joe.
another level tonight. But I will say this about the varieties. And this person said pocket and standard. And Austin Ogletree, Rachel Ogletree just joined us. They were here when there was only one standard. One of the questions we get all the time.
Gotta have XL too if you're gonna break the standards down.
Yeah, one of the things we get asked all the time about shorty bulls is why we don't have a mini or a standard or anything like that. And we say, no, there will always be just one size. I do think at the initial onset of a breed, to have a spinoff is detrimental to that breed. But, as you said, the hip-hop culture and the social media culture and the internet breeds, it did not slow down the growth of a breed for you. But what it did allow was everybody to be a breeder because you didn't have to have type conformity.
No.
We stopped people really because you don't want a shorty bull over 14 inches. So when you start getting those pop up in your program, immediately
That's
you're
not
out.
even allowed in the ring.
So there's that. The American Bully, I think, did itself a disservice. Now, I think it did a disservice.
I think the breeds it came
consistency.
from has such a wide range of styles, though it was almost inevitable.
I mean,
you get 5 different styles of American Pit Bull Terriers right now.
Oh, without it. I mean, I showed in the UKC when our dogs were 80 pounds and we had ADBA people saying your dogs are too big. I had a snooty dog that was literally 47 pounds.
Yeah.
When I went and got Capone and he was 82 pounds, people told me all the time, that's not a dog, that's a pitter staff. It's a mutt. It's not anything. That's what they would call the Pit Bull Amstaff crosses. So the American Bully of my year of 2001 was a pitter staff. It was an American Pit Bull Terrier cross with an American.
You have to think of back in that time, like when you talk about those days, how many dogs do you talk about that you remember? Like 10.
Yeah.
Like 10 dogs.
Fact.
If you could go back and see the dogs that, maybe the dogs that made those or some other dogs that weren't quite as famous, but were more like the norm. The norm at that time.
But famous should not affect breed
No,
type.
this is something that messes up.
But it does
something
in all
that affects
breeds.
all breeds, though.
To some degree.
Well, you just brought up the Pit Bull. You're talking about dogs like Jeep. I'm a Georgia boy. Shout out to my Georgia family. When we look at Jeep dogs, they dominated where I was at. We had a lot of Jeep dogs. So our dogs tend to look like that. Honey Bunch came along. We had dogs that started to look like that. When you wanted Eli dogs and Floyd Boudreaux, who was just a couple of states over, you could go see those dogs.
Look at a Colby dog and then look at a Boudreaux dog. They look completely different. That has nothing to do with breed type.
Please understand that we are looking through the eyes of what I would say dog enthusiasts. You could bring a Colby dog or an Eli dog or a Snooty dog or motherfucking Bistro and let it run up on some of my cousins in Philadelphia. And get your goddamn Pit Bull, bro. Get your Pit Bull, bro. They identify it immediately.
Okay, so
that an Eli dog, Snooty? No,
let's go
get
through
your
these.
dog, bro.
Oh,
No, okay, so on
Go
that,
ahead. That's breed type, though, right?
on that tip, that's yes.
That's fear.
No.
It's fear, but identifying a dog as a Pit Bull.
If they said Bistro too, then I would just say, come on. You can't
You're
tell if that's
obviously
different.
safe. Go ahead. No.
But that's that. Okay, so let's talk about what breed type consists of. There's 5 components that make up the breed type for every breed. This is not something I came up with. This is not something Jamie Sweet came up with. This is Richard Beauchamp's fucking life work. Okay. Breed type is broken down into 5 categories. I'm going to go through all 5, and then we'll break each one of them down. We'll have a discussion about it. Number 1 is character. And these are in order for a reason. These are in the order that man wanted them to be for a reason. It's called the order of importance, just like mathematics. Order of operations.
Oh, sorry.
The first one's character. Second one is head/expression, because it's not just the head and the shape, but the setting of the eyes and the lay back to the nose and the actual expression on the dog's face. The third one is silhouette. Fourth one is movement. And the last one's coat. Do you notice how movement is number 4? Now, when I think of structure and being correct, to me it's not the silhouette that determines that. To me it's how they move.
Yes.
So movement is number 4, though, Bully. So we're going to have this argument about correct structure is the most important thing. No, it's fucking not. It's number 4 on the list. Mm-hmm. If you can't recognize the dog first, the movement is secondary shit.
Bingo. I agree.
It's number 4 for a reason.
Yeah,
I would like
because
to say,
you have no type.
okay, I would like to say that in order of importance, we can't look at these things as, it's not the order of unimportance. They all are important.
No, I'm not saying anything's unimportant, even down to the coat. If you got an American Bully with a 3-inch shaggy coat, that's not an American Bully. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The coat is important too, but I'm saying the most important
And
thing.
that's something
Can I
you
speak
recognize.
on what I think Richard Beauchamp was going with this?
Please.
Okay, now I don't know, and I'm speaking posthumously.
Yeah.
Here.
R.I.P.
But
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Pour a little something out. Can I pour something out? Never mind. Anyway, what was the first thing?
What was it
Character.
for Richard?
Now, if you think about a dog show when a dog comes in the ring, okay? And I'm using the dog show because we've all pretty much have experience with that. You come in, the dog comes in the ring, first thing you notice is his character. Like, how does he come in? Is he confident? Does he walk in the ring? Is he like, is he slinking around, or does he just come in? You're not really judging his movement at that point. You're just letting him come in and see how the dog acts.
Yeah,
That's
first
his character.
impression.
Right. His head and his expression. First place the judge normally goes when he comes to a dog, starts from the front, looks at it, comes down, look at the dog, look at me, look at the dog, look at me. Head expression.
One of the reasons why I say that all breeds are head breeds.
That's true.
People say bull breeds are head breeds. All breeds are head breeds. The head is the second most important thing on the fucking dog, period.
Okay, so now Richard has done that. He looked at the head of the dog, looks right at him, backs away. Now he looks at all the dogs and looks at the silhouette of the dogs. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he's looking at.
Which, if to break it down, it could be top line, angulation, shoulder set.
Generally, we all see the dog. The judge goes
Neck.
over the dog.
And what's he looking at?
What is he doing? He's going over the dog, though. So that's the silhouette, basically. Standing back, looking at it, going over it. He's already seen the head expression. Now he's on the silhouette. Then it comes the movement, which, as you know, with a judge, you send them around, going through the movement. Now, Richard was a little crazy in his old age, so he just threw code in there because he needed an extra thing. But my theory was working perfect until the code. I don't know.
You know what's funny, though?
What's
you know what's funny about that? I've seen 2 other books on breed type that don't have code in there.
Yeah, I think code was just something, hey, I want to...
Code's super important, though.
Coat, no,
super
coat.
important.
Because if you see a bully with a little wave in its hair,
I have seen it.
okay, that should bring up a question in your mind. Why
Right.
does it have wavy hair?
Or, okay, so let's use 2 dogs that are really similar but have different coats.
Okay.
Okay, let's use a Bernese Mountain Dog,
Good choice.
and let's use Newfoundland, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Newfoundland's got a fucking 4-inch double coat. I mean, they both have double coats. They're both cold weather dogs. Newfoundlands are noticeably longer, shaggier coats.
Yeah.
Swiss Mountain Dogs, and underneath the frame of the dog's probably pretty close.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you talk about code, we have to once again get our mind out of being, are you a bully lover or a dog lover?
Yeah, I'm talking about dog.
But, yeah,
breed type is
majority.
every breed.
Exactly.
Every breed.
Most breeds of dogs, the spin-offs are separated. Everybody always thinks it's
Schnauzers
about,
and elk hounds.
everybody always thinks it's about the height, but a lot of times it is coat. It can be a coarse coat. It can be smooth
like
coat.
the
college.
A
you know what I'm saying?
Borzoi
Yeah.
or a
Well,
Lano.
or a wire fox terrier. They have a wiry coat, and then you get to a fox terrier. They can be smooth coated.
Same reason long-haired dachshunds and short-haired dachshunds are 2 different fucking breeds.
Correct. So
It's
coat
2 different breeds.
in almost every other breed, not every other breed, but a lot of breeds, coat is a major aspect. It's just that in our breed,
Length and texture in our breeds are still a huge deal.
but it's so consistent. I think that we as a community overlook coat because
Yeah, for
we
sure.
just expect it to
Right,
be
right,
For sure.
tight and well groomed. And
But let's start at the top.
Okay.
Let's start at the top. Character. Like you said, the first thing you're going to notice when a dog comes in the ring, or when you first encounter any dog, you're going to notice, is it confident? Is it timid? You're going to notice, is it aggressive? Is it friendly? You're going to notice a lot of these things about the actual.
Both of the breeds in question, the American Bull and the Shorty Bull, I think
should be confident dogs.
Yeah, and I think overall we're losing that.
No, well,
On a scale of 1 to 10, I think we're at a 6.
I think that's a lot more the owner and environment than it is the breeding.
I do too.
But
I
that's,
really
that's
do.
not even the point. Hold on, that's not even the point. The first thing you look at is the character. Does the dog act like it's supposed to act? How do you know what it's? How do you know what it's supposed to act like? The fucking breed standard tells you. The first the first part, the general impression, is going to give you an idea about the dog's character. Second thing, head and expression. Did I miss a fucking inside joke, or are we just laughing at all the doodles?
I laugh at what Jamie does. It's just this right here. Say something. I want to imitate
Oh,
this. Go. What were you saying?
I'm thinking.
Head and expression.
Head and expression.
Go.
I'm doodling. I'm doodling.
No, even before we get into head and expression, what would you say as far as character goes? What would you say? Let's stick right on Shorty Bulls. Ideal character for a Shorty Bull would be what?
Well, they should be happy to be there. They should bounce. They should be confident. I'm not going to be surprised if there's some same-sex aggression, if somebody gets up in the tail of the other one.
So dominance is expected.
Yeah, dominance.
But a confident,
but
zesty dog.
hopefully the owners have been educated on that, and, they're ready to show. They know what they have to do. Don't be running up there. That I say they have a courageous curiosity. That's a term I made up.
Shit. Okay, but what would be, if a Shorty Bull walks up to you, what is the most recognizable, like good or bad, what is the first thing you see to let you know that dog has good character for a Shorty Bull, or it doesn't?
Curiosity and outgoing.
Yeah, they're outgoing. They're
I think
happy.
the curiosity, I like
The
that.
courageous curiosity.
I like that.
Yeah, they should be curious.
They should have their nose in everything.
And the thing is,
Go ahead.
the courageous curiosity, it's courageous, and it's because, some of the stuff they're going to investigate, they could get in trouble
Right.
with.
Yeah.
Like jumping off of things or...
Person's confidence is not bred. Now, I'm going to say this. I think that...
False.
What's that?
Yeah.
Confidence is
False.
not bred?
Yeah.
Oh,
Everything
I
is
disagree
genetic,
100%.
Anton. Everything is genetic, my friend. Everything is genetic. Right down to how newborns learn from their mothers.
Yeah.
Once they learn that behavior, they can then pass that behavior through genetics to their offspring. Everything's genetic.
And nature...
We fuck it up by
nature
the nurture
versus
part.
nurture. Yeah.
We fuck the nurture part up. You can kill confidence.
Yeah.
You certainly can breed confidence. Mm-hmm. Certainly.
Certainly. I agree.
I agree on that in both ways. Confidence and skittishness. I've seen
Skittishness,
dogs that are
true.
skittish.
You can breed skittish
Now,
dogs, too.
the argument, I think that goes, one, you would never have working dogs if you couldn't breed in attitude and conditioning. And
Right.
But
you would
we've also seen, you talk about it, built dogs all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But, that goes back to the horrible word of culling. Right now we're talking about participation
We're in a
trophies
no-call.
earlier.
We're in a no-call
Yeah,
zone.
you're in a no-call zone. So everything gets passed, and then you build on that. But I'll tell you right now, building a dog to sit, stay, be aware is different than it naturally having.
For
that.
sure.
So I think that some of those dogs, if they were put to the same test, they would never get as far as they do. If we are not true evaluators of temperament. We are evaluators.
That's exactly
of
what I
training.
was just going to say.
You see what I'm saying?
As an American bully breeder, I'm not doing temperament tests at 4, 5, 6 weeks to see the character of these puppies at 6 weeks.
Well, it's like when chairs drop, when people are at a show and a table drops or a chair drops or this phone drops and I ran. Like, what you want to do is not judge that I ran. That's not what made me scared.
Did you recover? And how long did that take?
Right. Did I notice
Did
immediately
anybody redirect?
when I ran, when it fell, and I was like, ah! Then I realized, oh, it's just my bottle. How soon was I cool again?
Well,
that's the same thing with a dog.
I think some people expect their dogs, that's a big deal with people when they're into that sort of thing.
These are the same people that run when a car backfires.
Yeah, but
Me, I stand there.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying though.
no,
That character, regardless of whether it's taught or bred, it needs to have that character to be an ideal example of the breed.
Correct.
Look
Regardless
at
of how it
Watch
got
it do
there,
it all the time.
it needs to have that.
Yeah.
Or a bull terrier.
Wagging its tail. It's happy. It doesn't matter what it's doing. It's a happy.
So you would not disqualify Cane Corso that tried to bite you?
Not at all.
Correct.
Had it happen.
Right.
American Bulldogs, had it happen. That's part of their breed. Aloofness to humans. Aloofness to strangers.
Great breed type.
I have no issue with an American Bulldog having an issue
An
with me.
American Bully trying to bite you, though.
If it opens his mouth, that's an issue. Human aggression is not accepted at all. That's a DQ. So if it opens his mouth towards me, that's a DQ.
The growling.
Growling, a little insecurity. I'm gonna remember that, and it's gonna be points. You know, it's not points because there's no point system, but it's gonna hurt that dog for sure. The growling. I'm gonna remember
And
that.
you're probably going to do another
But it's
little
not
test.
a DQ.
But
But I'm gonna
see.
test him again.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not a judge of the American Bully, but
Because
I'm
I
going to
don't
knock
want
off.
people walking up to me and grabbing my balls.
Right.
So I understand when a male has a problem with me grabbing his
It's
balls.
uncomfortable. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to knock off the saying, and this is where people get it mixed up a lot. The saying that I would put in my mind that dog was a little aloof, the American Bully. I'm talking about American Bully, a dog that should be friendly to humans.
Right.
I'm going to knock the same off for that dog that seems skittish as it's going around the ring, just dotting.
Oh,
It's not
yeah,
aggressive
you
at
hit
all,
it.
but it's unsure of itself.
Unsure.
The American Bully, the number one thing, I tell people this, and I've done BSL talks, is that the American Bully should be overly friendly and overly confident. It
Yep.
should never, ever look sketchy. If I see an American Bully that looks sketchy, I don't care who it is. I don't care if they're my friend or not. It's a problem for me. I love Gold Rush was a perfect example. I love the way Gold Rush looked. Gold Rush was unsure of himself. That was a quality
That's
that
being nice.
I always thought would hurt him. Bistro was different. He was gregarious, like he loved people.
Motherfucking vocabulary
Listen, man,
session
I'm
in
trying
here
to
tonight.
stretch people out
God damn.
with the vocabulary, but that's what he was. He was a very, very happy dog, and that was to me the ideal temperament of the American Bully. When people would say, "Well, he has this with his biter, his feet weren't straight," that dog
Those are structural faults.
suited breed type and personality, which to me was tremendous for the American Bully, and at the time. And now people can get mad. What do you mean at the time?
No, that
No,
leads
even
to
right now-
faults and virtues
Even
right
now,
there.
2018.
Just what you said.
Even right now in 2018, people are gonna get so mad.
Luminapanon is on your thing. I ain't seen
Oh shit!
Go ahead.
But Bistro, then I feel like the community had an uproar about Bistro because there was a certain push from two certain senior judges, and I put senior in fucking quotation marks. But there was a push by two senior judges about quote unquote structure, and people saw these structural faults as abominations.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where instead of seeing the whole picture, if we'd had these senior judges pushing breed type and pushing character and pushing American Bully instead of just, oh, it needs to have tight feet and it needs to have a clean bite and the top line needs to be this and it's, you know what I mean? Fuck it. Listen, I'm not saying it doesn't need to be built well, because it does need to be built well. But if we're looking at the order of importance here on the breed type list, movement and silhouette are below character and head. It just is what it fucking is. I didn't make that.
Okay.
I'm not right. I'm not making the rules. I'm reading from the page.
Let me give you another example of that. The coon dog that you were talking about, the walker.
Oh, walkers.
Okay. Oh,
Why the hell did
walkers. Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Not that great of a breed. This is deserve all that.
Listen,
It looks
you
like
were on
4
him for
other
saying that
breeds
about the
of
right
coon
time.
dogs.
No, it's a walker.
Go
I
wild.
had one.
Texas Rangers.
I'll go get a picture of her.
Don't.
No, listen. What are they for? To hunt.
Coons, I'm assuming.
There you go.
Racist. Go ahead.
What if it has perfect feet? What if it has perfect feet and, beautiful expression, but it doesn't hunt?
Form follows function. But that's like a sidebar to
Okay.
all this, though.
No, I'm just saying.
Don't you think?
I'm thinking character. It
Oh,
has to want to do
You're
that.
saying
I'm saying yes, it
all
is
this
more
is
important.
relative to the function.
Yeah, I'm saying it's
As
important.
a judge, you should be able to go to the ring, even though you have no way of just throwing a raccoon in the ring.
Yeah.
You should be able to look at that dog and say, he has I think he looks like he wants to
You
hunt.
can't do that in
you
a
can't do-
confirmation
that's
show.
right. You
I
can
think
get-
you
That's why
have
they have
to.
trials.
You can't.
But
No,
You can't do that in a confirmation
Listen,
show.
this is the same thing with pit bulls. When you judge a pit bull, even though you can't put them in the box, you have to say, does that dog have the zest to do what it was bred to do? I think that we have to do that every
In a
time.
I
confirmation
think that's
ring, you
crazy.
can't do that.
Yeah, I'm just
You're
crazy
talking
as
about
hell.
character and expression.
No.
That's what the character is.
No.
If I got a Rhodesian Ridgeback and it's supposed to go out and kill a lion and it walks in like, oh my God, it's scared of a mouse, That's
No.
what you're doing. You're
I'd
doing
say-
what is bred to
I'd
do.
say
But you're
this-
still reading from the standard and going off the character.
Okay,
that
but
you're reading out of
listen,
the
if you
standard.
got a
No,
lion
you're
killing Rhodesian Ridgeback,
Correct.
maybe you ought to be in the jungle getting a
should
damn
be.
lion.
That's
But
what
this
I'm
is where
saying.
confirmation ring fucks it up.
Confirmation is not a test of function.
It's still based off the breed standard, and one of the breed standards is
It's not
the
a test of
description.
function, though. That's why
It
these
is-
breeds
it
that are
is-
functional
Hey,
breeds
But
still
listen,
have.
Do you remember
I
this? Do you remember this?
didn't say test it. What I said was it should still have the appearance of the ability and the want to do what it was bred to do. So if it's a police dog, if it's a Doberman, and it goes back to what you're saying about the temperament. But what it is it's a play on character. The only difference with it is in confirmation is.
But I can't be
me
predicting things in the ring.
But that's exactly what confirmation judges have to do. When you're looking at a dog, a herding dog.
I don't agree with
Listen,
that at all.
okay, listen. This is what I'm gonna say. If you're looking at a greyhound, you should be imagining that it's built like it should be able to run
Fast.
That doesn't mean that you're gonna make it fucking run. It means you should be able to look at that dog and imagine that could do it. If that motherfucker walks like this, or he doesn't get up on his toes,
You know what? I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to tell you why.
Disagree with the people.
I'm going to disagree with the people. Hey, need some old weight pullers to come on the show. Mm-hmm. You know, I can tell you there was a
I know
dog.
exactly where you're going with
There
this.
was a dog called Thunder owned by Dean
and,
Murkhouse.
and he's not built correctly. is what you're
No, his hocks rubbed together.
He
Poor
was
old
he was
Thunder.
built to pull weights, is what he was built.
It was like
Can I
this
ask
in
a
the
question?
back.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Where in the American Pit Bull Terrier does it say that it's built to pull weight?
Oh my God, this was an example.
No, but what I'm saying is, because I say this to weight
No,
pull
that's-
people,
that's a
they used to
valid
say that to
point.
me all the
Nah.
time. This will pull. I don't
No,
care.
I'm saying.
There's
what-
nowhere in the description
But
of
this is the question.
of the
though.
breed that says
Even
it's
though
supposed to pull
even though
weight.
he can do that, this is the
That
thing.
wasn't my
Let's
point.
say this.
At all.
But listen, let's say I'm me, and I'm built the way I'm built, and I can knock people out. So you see me get into a fight.
He can't.
And you see me fight
He can't.
John Jones, Bones Jones, even all souped up on the drug.
That's the problem.
But you look at him.
Especially souped up on
But
the
let's
truck.
say John Jones has a glass jaw, hypothetically. So I'm going to knock him out. But if you saw that dude in me, who would you pick to win the fight just off of appearance?
Probably John Jones.
Of course. And what the reasoning behind that is, his arms are longer, he's got him on reach.
He actually looks like an athlete.
He looks like an athlete. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. 100%. So when you look at a dog in a show ring, you're looking for that John Jones. You'll never get to see if he can beat me in a fight. But I would lose the confirmation test for exactly what you said.
pretty
Because he
good fight.
looks like he can fight. That little pudgy dude looks like he's going to get knocked out. Same thing.
That's a pretty good point, but
Do you remember the show we judged when we were supposed to judge on? Does it look like it could run 6
that was
miles?
that was the
And
UK
I was like, I'm out of
Millennium-
here. I'm not even doing this.
That was the UK Millennium Bulldog. show.
Yes, but do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I think it's
No,
wrong.
but I do see what you're saying.
I
Like
think-
I can look at
I don't
dogs
even give a shit.
and say that dog looks like it could fucking run for 3 days straight. That dog looks like it could trot for 3 fucking straight days.
if that's what the breed standard calls for.
No, I'm
Okay.
saying that you can
Yeah.
just look at a dog generally, even if
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a
Oh, yeah,
mongrel, and
without a
say
doubt.
that motherfucker
Okay,
looks
but
like he
here's
can
why I
trot for.
disagree. This is why. This is just an example. Don't talk till I'm done. Okay?
This could be a while.
I have this pen. How many people think
This is the best podcast ever.
How many people think every dog with a snub nose can't breathe? Can't run, can't do anything?
A lot.
Yeah, that's not always necessarily true. How many people think if your dog's a noisy breather that, the corrective surgery is going to fix that?
No, but-
Not true. So these things, this is all just some, I think.
Stereotypes, basically. is what you're
Okay,
saying.
this is where I really think.
I got a solid point. I'm about to show you.
Oh, listen to
I'm about show you
them.
whole
You know what? I'm just going to keep talking about dumb shit to keep these two. Well, look at them. They both know what they're going to say. Not hearing a word I
I'm
say.
listening to you.
I'm-
I am
No, you're not.
listening to
exactly
No,
what
you're
you're
not.
saying.
But that's okay.
No.
No.
But no, you're 100% right
No.
about the snub nose thing. Looking at it saying they can't run, and there's dogs like Moby and dogs like Skids even that will work and prove
Okay,
that
but
there's one.
I'm saying they're not really exceptions to the rule per se either.
I agree.
They do these things. I think that because dogs don't work anymore, but we still breed them, we still like them. They've lost their jobs. That's why we're in this place. Coon dogs should not. Why does a coon dog get accepted to the AKC to show and trot around a ring? That's ridiculous to me. That's my viewpoint. I hunted coon dogs. I've done that.
Right, because that's
Okay,
not a breed for conformation.
No.
That's a working breed.
I mean, you can have the bench show and all that
So
jazz.
the
and blah, blah, blah.
trials, like beagles, should
what
like
I'm
the
saying
trials
is-
for beagles, that should be their test.
Well, I'm saying our times have changed. So we need to change. We probably need to change a lot of things. We need to take a realistic look at this. I really think that.
I would agree. Honestly, at first I had a pretty good point to shut you down, but you actually already.
Well, I'll say this: there's been confirmation
Neutralized.
shows that for hundreds and hundreds of years, while dogs were working, there were dogs that were in confirmation and dogs that did field trials and did actual work.
Right, but there was also basketball games with fucking peach baskets and shit. Everything evolves.
But it doesn't change the rules of the game.
Everything fucking evolves,
But
and the
what-
rules have changed.
This is
3-point line has
Listen.
moved. They added a 3-point shot and moved the line twice now.
Well, confirmation is
The rules do
a
change,
pure
though.
sport because those rules have not changed.
Everything evolves is my whole point.
But
like
this
just like
is-
she's saying, like at one
I
point
understand this, but this is where
the working aspect was a huge part of it. Right now, it's not. So
listen,
we can't
if it is in
predict
the,
whether it'll work. I would
am
agree with
going
that.
to say, regardless of the time, if it is in the standard and it says this dog should be able to pull a cart like the Swiss Burmese Mountain Dog, then god dang it, that's what it should look like it can
Well,
do.
then
That's what it should
we
look
need
like
to
it
look
can
at who's writing these standards. Who's writing them?
Okay,
No, it
but
should
what I'm saying
should
is,
have the appearance
if
like it.
by
can do that
definition,
job.
thank you. A confirmation
Right.
is strictly that. It is
Right.
literally you imagining a dog being built well enough to do its job,
Right.
not it doing its job. I tell people this, coming from the game dog world, people always say, that dog wouldn't fight at all. That's not my job. My job is to make him look as if he would be the ultimate gladiator.
Right.
That's why they do what they do.
Well, I want my dog to look like the ultimate gladiator too. You know,
Well-
and he isn't going to do shit because his mouth won't open.
Okay, well, in the standard, it clearly
Yeah.
states that that's not what it's supposed to do
Yeah.
anyway. So when you
I'm
talk
saying
about
you do it.
when you talk about a dog with a snub nose, it doesn't matter unless it's saying that's what. Okay, the English Bulldog. This is my biggest problem with the English Bulldog standard. The description said this dog was used for bull baiting and all these magical things.
Yeah.
Well, when I look at the dog conformationally and structurally, form matching function, there's no way in hell
No way.
this dog is going to be able to do that. That is where the confirmation ring fails its breeds because we allow for those dogs not to even have the appearance or imagine that they could do that. Even though we're not going to put them through a trial, the dog should still look as if it can. What we're judging it to is if it could possibly do those things. I'm not saying...
No, I got no
that it's the
problem with
same.
that.
I agree 100%.
So I think that's where we
All right.
were lost in confusion.
So that's okay. Well, there's the character. That's number
Bullying the
number
character.
God, we're
one.
only on character. That was all that.
Or no, the second component.
Everybody's saying evolution. I hate the word evolution in dogs.
Everything evolves, whether you fucking want to believe it or not.
Evolution, by definition, is a natural occurrence of things. Breeding dogs
It's just it's
completely
a progression.
controlled by
We
us.
should say progression,
Progression is a better
instead
word
of
than
evolution. Progression.
Evolution is like we stuck them outside and they evolved to
we,
suddenly breed.
we actually
Well, it
separated
depends,
them.
like,
we
you know, who you
separated
stick
them
outside in
onto
which
an
pen.
island, and then they inbred within
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah,
and then adapted
they
to their
evolved
environment.
for the
No.
situation.
Yeah.
No. It's total opposite of
Component number 2:
Dang, we're just on 2.
head/expression.
Jerry, I haven't forgot your pictures. Continue.
Head and expression. This is the biggest reason why I say all breeds are head breeds, because the head is the first fucking thing you look at on a dog, and it's I think one of the things that can make or break a really good example of breed type. You know what I mean? You can have really similar to what we're dealing with in the American Bully. You can have dogs that have really well built bodies, heavy bones, good proportions, short, muscular, wide, and then you've got a terrier head sitting on top of that, where it's like that dog still is an American Bully. It still fits the range of styles to be acceptable as an American Bully, but that head takes away from it being a great example of the breed. You know what I mean? But we have the reverse also. We have dogs with really good heads and then wreck bodies or no body. You know?
Yeah, I dated a girl like that.
Yeah, we call that a butterface. No.
No, she had really no, joking.
Dear.
But no, and I feel like shorty bulls have little bit less of a problem with that because the heads are getting really, I feel like really consistent, and the bodies are the only thing that's kind of up in the air.
The expression on Shorty Bulls is,
it's
to me,
set. I think
we miss it because we get these round eyes. But once again, I got to remember, I am a Shorty Bull enthusiast. So when I look at your Shorty Bull and say, "Oh man, I don't like the way its nose is set or its eyes," or that might not be something that the average person would know.
That's what I was going to say.
And that goes with breeding.
Because how many times do you hear, that dog's fate, it's something, I don't know, I don't like its head. Well, what don't you like? I don't know, it's just off.
But we are getting to the point where it's consistent, where you can recognize the voice of a Shorty Bull.
But, you know, that's,
I just now realized you have glitter on your face.
I do.
You're like shimmering.
Raving. Do you think an
can
exotic
I
can
talk
have good
about the
American
expression?
bully?
Yeah, no, hold on.
I'm sorry.
So, don't you think learning all the things that make an expression, that's, you know, you learn, what do you learn about first? When you learn falls. Oh, no angulation, down in the pasterns, those sort of things. But splitting the head apart into the different components that make the head and form the expression, that takes a little bit to
Well, I
do
think
that.
that's definitely an advanced. That's
that's an advanced
for
thing.
most people. That's a step above because like you're saying, it's easy to recognize bad feet, and it's easy to recognize stiff stifles, and it's easy to recognize a messed up top line. But it's a little bit harder. It's a little bit more difficult. You have to be a little bit more into the breed to notice it has slab ribs if it's not supposed to have slab ribs, or notice it's got a snipey muzzle if it's not supposed to have a snipey muzzle. Those are maybe I agree because of the way that most of these judges and quote-unquote educators and quote-unquote prominent people in this community, that's how they approach the situation because they are not on that level to go to the advanced to the advanced traits, faults, and virtues like you're saying.
I agree.
I think it's easier for people to recognize that because that's where they're learning it from is people that are just now on that rudimentary level.
But I mean, I
said it earlier. I wanted to bring it back. I've been waiting to bring it back in.
Rudimentary. This is a question for the audience, real quick. So people are always saying the breed is changing, the breed isn't done. Then what exactly is going to be the end product? When will change be done, or at least minimal? What is the ultimate or end goal? I'm assuming it's for any breed or just the American Bully.
No matter what breed you're talking about, even if we're talking about the Bull Terrier of 2018, it's not a finished product. There's no such thing as a perfect dog. Until you get a perfect dog, there's no finished product. Whether we're talking about shitty rat terriers, or we're talking about dachshunds, or we're talking about bull terriers or American bullies, there's always going to be a next step. Like that or not, or accept that or not, that's just reality of life. That's how everything works. Chevy Camaro in 1967 was an awesome car. Did they stop there? No. In 68, they made it better. In 69, they made it better. In 70, they tried to make it better, went backwards. In 71, they came back. You see what I'm saying? Everything has a progression. Everything's going to naturally progress because of that's our mentality. We're capitalists. We progress shit. It's a progressive fucking mentality right now. Everything will progress, whether we like the shit to progress or not.
As a breeder, though, I don't know if you're capable or if it's asking too much for a breeder to breed with progression in mind. You got to understand, by breeding to a standard in what you're saying, in retrospect, you'd be breeding backwards because they're breeding to a standard. And if the standard is always evolving, you're setting your breeders.
The standard's not evolving. The product you're creating is progressing toward the standard. You're never going to be perfect. If we're talking about proportions, yeah, we could get a set proportion, but you're still not going to get every single dog from every single litter in the ring to have that exact proportion.
You're saying
it's just not
consistency is not identical, and I agree.
It's not a cookie cutter thing.
Guess what? It ends every week for a breeder somewhere. They're done.
That's true.
They're done.
Whoever asked that question, it could be the end right now for you.
Right, it could be.
That Ariel? I thought I seen that was Ariel. Rye could be the perfect dog for you, Ariel. That could be your end right there.
Hey, Nate just busted me and said you said evolve. I did.
Way to go, Nate. Way to go, Nate.
You guys taking points for the crowd?
No,
but I agree with what you were about to say.
Yeah, and
it could be the end for right now. my perfect dog could be Maestro. If I think in my brain that's it, doesn't mean
But I
that's
mean,
actually
if
it.
you're really into Maestro and that's your perfect dog, trust me.
It's not, by the way.
Well,
close, but it's not.
Trust me, you are going to keep doing that.
Right.
You're going to keep doing that. That's perfect to you. Okay?
And you see people do it all the time. You see people get stuck on their dog that they created, and now I just want more of these. Give me more of these.
Yeah.
Give me...
But I mean, if you're truly happy with that and you don't want to change anything more, that's where you'll stay.
Right.
You know, that's
I see
where
what
you'll stay.
he's saying though too. But again, the registry is not changing the standard every year. The perception of the popular or the general population is changing, not the standard.
You know what's funny? People always ask the question, would a dog like Kamali or one of the old school dogs win today? And I always tell them to flip that question and say, would whatever dog you think is popular today
That's a good one.
win back then? Because it makes them think about it a little bit differently. It's easier to talk about the where now. Who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron? If I'm watching LeBron, it's easy for me to say, LeBron does this, I never saw Michael Jordan. If you were to put some of the dogs now back then, would they look like an oddity? Would they look like a freak? Would they look to the point that people would be like, what the hell is that?
For sure.
That's another part of the question that we have to look at when we're talking about evolution or progression is that question right there. I don't, when you talk about head, it's always funny when I say that. When you talk about head though,
You can say expression.
it's funny to say. When you're talking about expression, it's one of the things that I think is longer lasting is the head of a breed. The Bull Terrier is an extreme, of course, but I think most of the head breeds, it may become a little more defined or a little more exaggerated, but the overall features are still there. The Amstaff's head is still the Amstaff's head. You may see a more pronounced stop, but it's always said that it's supposed to have a pronounced stop.
Yeah.
So now you're getting it. So I think that's why I think head is so important.
But going back to what you were saying earlier, if you think an Amstaff stop is pronounced, and someone shows you an American Bully with a real fucking stop, or an oldie with a real stop, your perspective might change a little bit as to how pronounced that Amstaff stop
But I think that's why you guys, when I say you guys, the American Bully community struggles with the exotic community, because there are features of the exotic that are, especially in the head, that make people wonder, is this what I'm really looking for, or is not what I'm really looking for?
I think
that's an attractive, the head of the American Bully, or any bully breed is an attractive.
I think we're attracted to bully, bully features. We are.
Not Bully Kid. Bully.
Same thing.
Features.
99% of our audience disagrees.
Okay.
Ariel's the only one that
The
disagrees.
chick named Ariel. Continue. Go. I think we are attracted to that. I mean,
that's what we like. But this was interesting to me. The rat terrier that we talked about. We have the rat terrier, and
cool breed.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm shitting on this because Jamie used to breed them.
no, it's okay. But I wanted to bully a rat terrier too. I wanted everything bully. I want my horses bully. I want my goats bully. Everything bully. My chickens bully. I love bully.
If I owned a horse, it would be a Shire or a Belgian for sure.
Right. But
It
don't
has to be
ever
bully.
pick one of those like you pick bullies. I did that.
It has to be Bully.
No, I picked the one with the biggest bone, the shortest back, and this thing couldn't
But that
fit
goes
the
back.
trailer.
That goes back to the standard where I was talking about earlier. A bully rat terrier is not going to be able to perform the task of a
And
that
not
was
ideal
going to be my
example of
point.
breed, right.
Its head is shaped that way so it can get in the holes.
Yeah.
The big head, guess what? You have to carry a shovel with you now when you hunt and it goes in the hole because you have to dig them out because they get stuck in the hole.
It's funny about pit bulls.
And you wanted them to natural whelp too, so bigger heads, bullier dogs. It's going to cause. That's where the problems with the whelping come into.
When I was showing American Pit Bull Terriers, and I had, like I said, a dog that was 80 pounds, one of the things that I used to argue, and I used to, of course, argue both sides, but one of the descriptions was that the old-time fighters would carry their dogs to the ring. You know what I'm saying? Scoop them up under their arm. Well, immediately when you have an 80-pound pit bull, unless I should kill him now, I wasn't scooping it up underneath my arm. So, they'd be like, that was something that I would think about, form, matching, function in the description of the breed. That's where a lot of what you read in the standard when it comes to breed type, it's all there for you. It's just a matter of what you want to skip over and not apply to your breeding program. And that's what most
Also
people do.
reading comprehension. I mean, the average reading comprehension level of a U.S. citizen is not great.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
But I
so
think
if we take that same average and carry it over to the dog world, the average comprehension level is not great.
Right.
So if you're reading that standard and you can't even comprehend what the fuck it's saying, it's probably going to be difficult for you to progress.
And that's where I want that to
Right.
come up when you read the standard. When you read, we brought up rat terriers, and I don't know if this is true, so don't quote me. But a lot of those breeds that go to ground breeds.
Woohoo!
One of the things you want to do is reach in and they say you pull it out by the tail. Well, if your dog had a spindly tail, you couldn't pull it out. You know what I'm saying?
Pull tail right off.
That's why you see the ones with the, I don't know what. No,
Rat terrier's got a
Stub
thick
tail.
3-inch
stub
nub,
tail.
yeah.
And you could grab it and lift that dog straight up by it. Well, if you didn't have that, that would be a fault because, once again, it goes back to the idea of what you should be able to do. In fact, I saw a judge before go behind some of those dogs, grab them by the tail, and lift them up. You know? And I've seen him.
Can you
What are you
imagine?
doing? You're gonna hurt my dog.
Can you imagine if I walked around grabbing tails and picking shit up off the ground? People would lose their mind.
But if it said that was something that the breed was supposed, that's how they did it.
Right.
I see nothing wrong with a judge doing that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't either. I don't know. I think we get too far.
First of all, as a
off.
judge, I don't give a fuck how you feel about what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? You're the handler, you're the enthusiast, you're on the sideline. I'm not asking you permission to pick your dog up by the tail. If I think that's the best way to evaluate that dog, that's what I'm going to do. Fuck your feelings. Leave that shit at home. There's no room for your feelings in the conformation show ring. You might not even understand. And I'm not being like, fuck you. I'm just saying you might not understand why I'm doing that.
No, I mean, I see it's like, with the table thing and shorty bulls. If the judge wants to put them on the table, I don't like the table, but my dog should be by the standard.
Should be able to put that motherfucker on the table.
Confident enough to stand on the table.
I would think
Now,
so.
If it says in the standard, weak-minded, scared of shit, then I could be like, yo, man, obviously he's scared. So
Why get the table out?
But
Yeah.
someone, I've had to tell people, they're like, well, Bully, you don't like tails, man, that freaks my dog out. It shouldn't, by breed definition.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's just a matter of practice.
If you have
most of these dogs, if they practice on a table, they'd be fine.
See, I remember I was at a show and there were some retrievers,
I've heard it
and the judge stood behind all the dogs and took a tennis ball. He pulled his 3 out. There was like 40. He pulled out 3. Took a tennis ball and threw it. And the dog lunged. I'm talking about one of these retrievers lunged like wham. And he said, "Take him around, please. That's my winner."
W.
And they're like, "That has nothing to no."
Part of the character.
That's what it's supposed to do.
That's what it's supposed to do.
What's supposed to do.
But he also tested that in the ring.
Yeah, but that's no
was
different than when people get mad about the dogs facing off. If you have a dog that are supposed to be same-sex aggressive, I'm not saying let them roll right there in the ring, but they should still flex up. They don't have to growl and bark and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they should turn around and acknowledge that there is another...
We should definitely
And
see
if
a
you're
lot
moving
more.
feet and stuff in a class of males on dogs like that, something's wrong with the temperament. Okay? Because they should just be on point, ready to go.
That's what I was just going to say. We should definitely see a lot more alert dogs.
Yes.
In the males class especially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 3 on the breed type list is silhouette. Now, silhouette, like I said, is everything from, the back line, from the top of the head, the arch of the neck, the wither shelf, the top
The
line,
shadow.
the angulation.
That's what it is. On the wall.
If you take a dog from the side and you black out everything on the dog and cut it out like it's a stencil, that's a silhouette. So when you see a shorty bull or you see a rat terrier or you see an American bully from 50 feet away, essentially you're looking at the silhouette, and it should be recognizable instantly from the silhouette without even seeing the character in the head, even though those are obviously important and crucial components. The silhouette should tell you a lot about what you need to know. Mm-hmm. Even as far as down to the depth of chest, the proportion from leg to body, the proportion from back length how square the dog is, what kind of angulation we're working with in the back. If the dog's supposed to be really angulated, you'll be able to see that from the silhouette. If the dog's supposed to have a heavy neck, a big arch, you're going to see that from the silhouette. If the proportions, the bone proportion, the head proportion, you're going to see that from the side. You're going to see how big the dog's head is. All that comes in with the silhouette. That, I mean, even though number 3 on the list, like Bully was saying, this is not an order of unimportance.
Right.
Everything on the list is super important.
Correct.
And I feel like that silhouette, that's, for most people, general dog knowledge, I feel like that is where a lot of people, when they see a dog, that's what they're going off of to try to recognize that breed.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the silhouette to me is the first thing that screams breed type. I mean, it's one of the tests that you get by people is black out the entire dog.
Right.
And what type of dog is that, and you should be able to look.
Right.
I remember doing that with old school breeders. I remember seeing the old AKC board at the vet clinic, and I was so into dogs that I pretty much memorized them.
Yeah.
But even for me, when you got to the Kerry Blue, and then you saw, oh man, I just lost some type of dog, Bouvier, Frandress, that dog. They would look funny to me, and they were like little things I didn't really know.
Bouvier.
You know? Just Bouvier, you know, I just butchered that. Bouvier, thank you. I had a brain fart. I'm old now, people. But those breeds and the way they look, you know that you're really onto something when you can go in there and see that wired fox terrier and be able to tell the difference between that and a schnauzer or having them up there.
Or even seeing a wire fox and a smooth fox silhouetted out. If you can tell the difference between those two, that's beast. That's expert level shit right there.
And then you talk about coonhounds. It's a very, to me, hounds look the same. You know?
Pretty, well, except greyhounds and stuff and
And a
whippets.
bloodhound, I could probably.
Lurchers.
Yeah, but I
Lurchers
mean,
are a little different.
hound-
Yeah, a lurcher, is that a made up
Well,
breed?
how many times do we
No, it's
say
not a breed. That's a type like
a lurcher?
A lurcher, like a
Like a creeper?
nah, shit that chases
That's
shit
a
down like
lurcher.
A lurcher.
A lurcher. It's like just a greyhound, and it's a
What do you call
borzoi,
those sight hounds?
Anatolian
Would
shepherd.
you
No,
just call them sight hounds?
no. It's not.
I don't know. Actually, you know what? Right now, we should probably look that up. I'm not sure the difference between a sight hound and a
trying
lurcher.
to get
right
a
now.
little bit.
But I feel like a lurcher is more like a
lurcher's
chase
like
and
a
kill.
hunting. Yeah.
Chase and kill.
Yeah, that's what it is.
chase and kill,
Like a
not
coyote
chase.
dog. The lurcher's for coyote hunting. Lurcher.
Lurcher. I'm gonna write a book about a lurcher.
No.
It's gonna be about a serial rapist. That's like a lurcher.
That's a lurker.
A lurker with a lurcher.
Yes.
A lurcher.
You're talking about trolls.
Okay.
We're
This
talking
person
about
said
dogs.
when you said
Back
to
on
take tests
track.
on silhouette
Back on track.
for big type. This one said the color of a ribbon or amount of points and titles. One hash should not determine whether or not you think your dog is perfect for you. We have to stop trying to please the next man and letting them determine if our dog is great or not. Breed for the look you like. At the end of the day, that's what truly matters.
Yeah.
Rolling.
I'm gonna have to
That's
stop.
cool,
I'm gonna have to pump
but-
the brakes right there. I'm gonna have to
This-
stop that train, brother.
I do agree that what you like is what you like. You know what I'm saying? If you like your dog, like your dog.
Love it.
I think we gotta
get that
get
we
this
should-
community shifted toward the fact that the confirmation ring should hold some fucking weight.
Well,
It should,
even
and
also
that's where it's going.
Just breeding dogs in general. Let's not just breed what we like. I truly believe that that's
Ho.
where certain things happen. You know what I'm saying?
Educate. This
I don't give a
motherfucker.
shit what anybody breeds. Breed what you like all day. Know that if you're coming in the confirmation ring,
That right.
this is what you should bring.
Right.
If you didn't bring that, don't holler later.
Guys,
That's it.
I have a large.
That's
rescue.
it.
No, that was a.
I have a large rescue following. I have to say,
I'm about ready to.
There's-
hold up. Excuse me, a rescue following?
I have a large rescue.
How many of these rescue following people even know what the
go
fuck
now.
breed type is?
They don't.
And why would they need to know that?
But they're still responsible breeding and irresponsible.
If they're rescue,
If there's
And
no
what
market
if the
breeding at all.
irresponsible breeding ended? Would
Breeding-
your rescue people have a job?
Most of them are volunteers. Most of them
This
are
is gonna
volunteers
get
working
bad.
for free. When they have time
Okay, I just had to
when they
say
have
that.
time off from the orphanage, they come and rescue goddamn dogs from people that are out
I had
there
to
breeding
say it.
what they want to breed.
I
So
had to
all
say
I'm
it.
saying is a disclaimer.
No, but I think you
Jesus.
definitely should have a vision and breed toward your vision. But at the same time, I feel like
sweet for president.
No,
What country is that?
I feel like excuse me. No, but I feel like we just have to get people to wrap their brains around the show ring should hold some fucking weight. And if you're going to bring a dog in the show ring, your vision's great and you have your vision, but you're also submitting your dog for the opinion to be evaluated by that judge.
Does it make sense now why I was so...
Everything you say makes sense.
Had so
Obviously,
much
you're
intensity.
getting votes for president. You're basically fucking Oprah.
I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
know how far back for the camera you are that you look like a gnome. Like,
I
you
look
look
like
so
a gnome?
small compared to us. Like,
Well, we are large human beings.
you look like you're 5 years old.
Well, thanks. That's great.
Okay, number 4. Movement. Now, this is the big one. This is the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Small.
Well, why is that? Because the pussy willows are on my head.
The what?
The pussy
Pussy
what?
willows. Those are pussy willows.
What? Okay, my mom.
No, number 4, movement.
Movement.
Now, this is something that I want to kind of put some emphasis on, because general canine locomotion and correct movement for an individual breed are not the same thing a lot of the times. The way a dachshund's supposed to move and the way a general canine locomotion chart's going to show you how a dog moves are going to be different, way different. The way a basset hound's supposed to move is not going to be the same way as a borzoi is supposed to move. A bull terrier is not going to move the same as a Siberian husky. It's just not. There's a correct movement for that breed to give it the best, or to make it the best example of the breed type it can be. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to use an example.
Use it English. That's always an easy example.
Right, English Bulldog. Mm-hmm. English Bulldog. Or French, I'm going to use Frenchie. I'm going to use Frenchie because we haven't spoken on it tonight. French Bulldogs are supposed to double track. It's actually called Frenchie tracking because it's such a unique movement. The front legs on the outside, the back legs on the inside when they move. So you should be able to see 2 defined sets, 4 steps every single time, every stride they make, 4 footprints, right? That's unique to that breed. If you look at the way a borzoi moves, tremendous reach and drive breed, any of the trad breeds, if you look at how they move and you look at how an English Bulldog moves, you're going to say, well, that dog's a piece of shit. That dog, that's not how a dog's supposed to move. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, back up, hold on a second, pump the brakes. According to this standard, it's supposed to move this way.
Right.
It's supposed to have outside movement in the front legs and inside movement to the back legs. You're supposed to be able to see the back feet moving from the front if you're looking at up and back.
That's true. And if you go back to the standard, even though movement is on number 4 here,
Still important.
Hearing that movement as you verse yourself further in dog terminology and overall dog structure, you should have an idea of how that dog is built for it to move that way.
This is great. This is a little bit of interpretation. Mm-hmm. When you see it, test yourself. Say, okay, I see that. I see the chest is this deep, the legs are this long, you know. Yeah. I bet it's going to move like this.
Yes.
And then watch it and see.
And if you want to be a judge and you're listening to this podcast, you should, without reading anything else in the standard, just from the way that description is, have somewhat of an idea of how this dog is built in order for it to move that way.
You should definitely not expect an American Bully to have the same reach and drive as an Anatolian Shepherd.
Right.
Or even a German Shepherd.
I'm talking about the French Bulldog. When he talks about the way...
You should definitely not expect a Frenchie to move like any other breed.
Right. So when you're thinking about balance in a French Bulldog, the dog has to be structurally unbalanced to achieve that
English
movement.
Bulldogs are the same way. That's why they have a roll to their body when they move because of how wide their shoulders are and how narrow their hips are.
And where's their center of gravity? Yeah. Way down there.
Way low.
But this is why I've always argued with
that's
people
proportion.
about
That's leg to body proportion.
Right.
You know, looking at 60% leg, 40% body as far as the proportion. Mm-hmm. So there's going to have to be some swinging to those motherfuckers. There's going to have to be give somewhere for that dog to be able to move.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I look at the Shorty Bull standard and it says preferred and allowed, and everyone gets so mad about this, but you look at the movement and you read it's balanced and it's a compact breed, automatically it should not move like a Frenchie because it says specifically in the standard not to be overdone in the front and tapering off in the rear. That's not what we want.
Right.
If you have that look, you're going to get the movement more of what you described, which would be incorrect for a shorty bull. So I think that reading comprehension of a standard is so much deeper than the length of the standard. It's so much deeper than how many faults it says. It's supposed to have 33 faults. 45 feet are a disqualification.
So staying on the Frenchie track,
yeah.
the FCI, the first FCI Frenchie standard I ever read had no faults listed. Why is that?
Because
everything that's not stated in that standard as ideal is a fault.
I love this part. Yes,
and that is a problem that we're in.
We don't need a list of
go
faults
over
this
that.
long.
Go over that again. Say it again. We write about what it is.
Because people fault judge.
Because why?
Because people fault judge.
Because
it's easy. That's the rudiment. Go back to my vocabulary word.
Right?
That's the rudimentary way to break a dog down, is to find the structural faults and pick them apart and base your entire decision on those faults that you can recognize.
Right.
Yeah.
And you no longer.
And the list would be endless.
The list. So the first Frenchie standard I ever looked at, there was no bite faults because it said must be an underbite. Anything other than an underbite is a fault.
Everybody listen really close right here. Right here.
Must double track. That's all it said. Because anything else, anything other than a compact cobby dog with longer back legs than front legs that double tracks with an underbite is a fucking fault.
Did you think that's vague? That isn't vague.
When I first read it,
else is a
because
fault.
of my comprehension level, I was like, where are the faults?
Yeah.
But that's because the only place I'd ever been to a show or seen a show was the ABKC and read the standards from the ABKC. At that time, this is 5 years ago when we went to England. The first time I ever seen that, I was in the same position as a lot of these people, like, where are the fucking faults? How do I know what's a fault?
Right.
And then, not so friend of the podcast, hasn't been on the podcast yet, John Sweet said, what do you mean? Why do you need a list of faults? It just told you everything it's supposed to be. Everything it's not supposed to be is a fucking fault.
Exactly. I've always said that. When people would criticize the standard, they wanted to be there. I want you to up your knowledge of dogs.
The only faults that should be listed are disqualifications.
Right.
And a lot of the times, there's 6 common sense disqualifications that every breed, everybody should just understand before you go with it.
Excuse me.
So it didn't say a rye jaw was a disqualification because everybody that I've come in contact with that has a little bit of experience in dogs and conformation shows understands that a rye jaw shouldn't be brought in the fucking ring, period, no matter what breed it is.
There you go.
It didn't say
Universal.
a blind dog should be as a disqualification because who the fuck's bringing blind dogs in the conformation ring?
Right. Must have 2 eyes.
Does it literally have to say must have 4 feet?
Yes,
No,
it does.
it shouldn't. It shouldn't.
Because if my dog can gate on 3, it should be in there.
But now is the top line going to stay level with 3?
If I press down on it.
if you train it that way.
But that is where we get so caught up in not truly understanding what we're looking at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I tell people that all the time. You can read a standard with no faults listed, and then if the question is asked, are there any faults for this breed? People will say no. Of course there are.
Of course there are.
Of course there are. If it says must be below 14 inches, I don't need to say it's a disqualification if it's 18. It's a disqualification.
But now, in the American Bully Standard right now, there's a minimum height that's not a disqualification.
Okay.
So that's a...
So
to me, that doesn't make any sense.
What
I'm not saying that's
what is
right.
the verbiage behind it?
It says between this and this is the height, but it's not a disqualification.
Is there something in there that says that it's not?
It should be a disqualification, but it's not.
But what does it say verbatim? What does it say?
We would have to get it out so I could read it word for word. But it lists the height ranges. So for a pocket female, 16 to 13.
Okay.
That's all it says. So in my mind,
why do you think it's not a disqualification?
In my mind, that's a disqualification.
It is a disqualification.
According to people who run shit,
that's bullshit.
That's not a disqualification.
That is bullshit unless it says.
We have to look at it before because I'm not quote. Don't quote me. We have to look at.
Well, I'm just saying if it said that for another breed, if it says 13 to 16, and there is
Anything
not
outside, that's
something
DQ.
there that says
Right.
Otherwise in proportion or not to be faulted if in proportion, that's what we have for our weight limit.
This is the problem we had with the oldies.
Yeah.
We ran into the same problem with the oldies.
I remember.
Because we had a minimum height on the oldies. And we had a lot of oldies under that minimum height. And they didn't want their dogs to be disqualified. So everybody threw a huge fit. And now the verbiage is, this is the height range and this is the weight range, but anything over or under is acceptable as long as it's in proportion.
And they were right.
So basically there is no height range.
There is none.
So basically you could have a 14-inch dog if it's in proportion, it's fine.
Well, this is what I'll say about that. With us, we have that on the Shorty Bull standard. We have a height range, we don't have a weight range.
Right.
So people used to get mad at me, and I said this.
Well.
Just by pure mathematics and the words that are in it, it says the Shorty Bull has to be compact 1. That's in there. So you're already looking for a square dog. So if the dog is at 14 inches, it can only weigh so much physically unless it's long. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's long as shit, it's not going to make 50 pounds.
100%.
So you automatically are.
Or that motherfucker's got leg bones like this.
He'd have to have some serious bone and muscle and mass. But if he's proportioned, we didn't want to fault that because, like Jamie said earlier, we do like bully dogs. So if it's able to do everything athletically inclined, everything that's in that standard, and still be there as a judge, that would be an ideal.
And we're
dog.
talking about ideals.
Correct.
So if it's...
But if the standard says 13 to 16, and it is 12 inches, and it has nothing in there about proportion, that is a DQ. So whoever thinks that it's not, I will debate them. I will argue. That's just English.
Well, we should
language.
look at that. We should actually look that up.
I will look it up right now because
Just so we get the exact wordage.
And I don't want to roast people. I mean, not that anything can happen.
Not because I've been through about 14 different standards in the past 2 weeks, so I'm a little fuzzy on it.
It may say something because I can't imagine it.
Unless they added a fucking addendum to that shit.
This is what's on the standard as far as
okay.
size.
But what I'm saying is, as far as movement goes, there is
this is what they have. There is no particular weight for the breed. Height and weight should be in proportion of the body frame. Height, please see variety amendments. Ooh,
that's what I'm saying. So you got to go to the pocket class.
Okay, pocket class.
Because that's where the minimums are. Is only in the pocket class. Is the minimums. Standards got a up and down range, but there's no minimum height.
Oh yeah, especially and I'm gonna say this, especially in the pocket class, it should be. This is an amendment to the basic standard, which a pocket bully determined by its adult height, males under 17 inches and no less than 14 inches at the withers. It says and no less than 14 inches.
Keep reading.
Females under 16 inches and no less than 13 inches at the withers. Important to note that the pocket bully variety is simply shorter than the standard American bully. Pocket bully dogs share the same build, body type, and breed type as the standard American bully and are not to be penalized for exhibiting heavily muscled, massive, bulky body type. That to me right there, and it says and no less, by English definition, that is a DQ. By just understanding the English language and no less. That means don't come in at 9:15. You are late. You're supposed to be home at 9 o'clock. If you show up at 9:01, you are late. If you show,
this is one of the arguments I've been having for about a year.
Well, that's a ridiculous argument.
Why put a minimum on it if we're not going to put a minimum on it?
Amen.
Yeah, this says no less means DQ. 100% Ty Lumley. I hate to say this live on something that's being recorded, but you were correct. I hope judges are reading the standards and judging appropriately.
If you really go back and look through all the shit I say, I'm correct a lot of the time, motherfucker.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to recheck that.
No.
Last one, because we're already at 2 hours.
We're about ready to wrap.
And we didn't even get range of styles in here.
I've lost track.
Last one is the coat.
We already did that.
Like we said about the coat. For these breeds, it's pretty consistent. But again, the length and texture are the two most important things that you're going to be looking at. If you see an American Bully, it's supposed to have a short, tight coat, and it's a long frizzy coat, or if it's a wire hair coat, that's not good. That's not right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all that encompasses breed type, character, expression, silhouette, movement, coat. Nowhere in that does it say structure. Nowhere. Stop saying that fucking word. If you want to talk to me about the silhouette or the movement of a dog, I get it. We'll have that conversation. If you come to me and say, hey, what's correct structure? I'm out. I'm not having that conversation. Because obviously we're not on the same page. I try to educate people this, but it's just like a battle. It's like an uphill battle. It's like I'm pushing a square rock up a fucking mountain. For real.
It just takes time.
It doesn't say the word structure anywhere or correct anywhere. It doesn't say that anywhere. And if you guys want to check my work, Solving the Mysteries of Breed Type is the book. Richard Beauchamp is the author.
Or Beauchamp.
Look that shit up. Okay, it's Cajun. It's Beauchamp.
No, he's not from there.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's from
I have no idea where he's from.
I've met him several times.
Bullshit.
No, he's a UKC judge. I've met him. He knows me.
No,
he did.
as far as reputation goes, it's not somebody that you should have to hype up. I mean, I feel like the guy's reputation is...
It's the dog world. You always have to hype
This is
him
a
up.
motherfucking dog, man. And probably, to me, when I read that book, when I really get into Solving the Mysteries of Breed Type, the things that he talks about have really opened my eyes to seeing a dog for what it is. And not what I like, but what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's really helped me separate my preference from what it really is. I recommend everybody reading that book, and you'll be able to see. I'm not making this shit up. It's all explained. It's all explained in the book. It's great reading. If you don't understand breed type, I suggest you get that shit right now.
And it's a great book to read for a beginner. It's a good one. Don't start with Eye for a Dog.
Yeah.
Start with this one.
Or a dog in action. That's
Bulldogs
pretty
for Dummies.
advanced.
I think he wrote that one also. That's a good one too.
Where I started, which was White Fang.
White Fang.
Old Yeller.
Hey, Jack London.
Call of the Wild.
Jack London references.
If you want to know about temperament and things like that, Call of the Wild really lets you get it.
Yes.
They fight wolves and bulldogs and boxers and
And
Rottweilers.
they humanize it very well. So Call of the Wild is one of the things I
Where the
recommend.
red fern grows.
Oh,
That's not really.
shit.
That teaches you about the coon hounds that Ty doesn't like.
No, listen. I can't even believe you just said that. I have a paperback copy of Where
Do you
the
know
Red
what they
Fern
were?
Grows at my house right
Really?
now.
Really?
It was a blue tick coon hound. That was Bo. And it was a red bone.
Red
coon
bone.
hound,
Oh,
Red
I was gonna
which
say,
was Annie. Bo dies at the end to the cougar.
I'm not saying I'm not saying my recollection.
I think I already got
Okay.
drowned. I can't remember. Remember the little fat kid with the other dog that he spent a lot of money on? And Dan. Old Dan.
Old Dan.
It's not Bo, it's Dan.
The whole book's about death. Okay, so let's get off that. Okay.
It's about a little boy that saved his money, though, and sent in a little penny ad to get his dog sent to him.
No, it's a dog man
Sight
book.
unseen, people.
It's a dog man book.
Yeah, people already said it was Dan, okay? I made a mistake. Bo, Dan, one of your regular...
Bo Dan.
You know how you people name your dogs?
Yeah.
Bo, Dan, Bob.
My memory fucks with me. Like sometimes it's like perfect, and then
think
other
Bo-
times it's just like.
Bo was the other dog, was the dog that he was going against, was Bo.
Okay, no,
He was a Merle.
Bo Diddley.
let's end with range of styles. Let's talk about that
Okay,
just
range of styles.
just for a few minutes. Now within these types,
Get your paper off.
No, I have some important
within
stuff.
these breeds, there's a range of style. For every breed, there's going to be a range of styles. In some breeds, like the Bull Terrier, there's actually subtypes. It actually goes into subtypes to explain the different styles. Dalmatian type, Terrier type, Bull, Bully type, and then there's a amalgamation of all four. Vocabulary word right there. Or, you know,
Didn't know what that was.
well, the fourth type is basically a combination of the other three types. The Bully type, Terrier type, Dalmatian type.
Also Mongol type.
No, not a mongrel type. That's to me, the combination is the true, like that's the
true
ideal type for a Bull Terrier to me.
Oh,
But-
yeah, I was thinking of something else.
No, but there's 4 acceptable subtypes of Bull Terrier. In the American Bully, this is how I explain it to people for the American Bully. If ideal breed type, if we're standing in the middle of the highway, 2-lane highway, right? Yellow lines in the center, white lines on both sides. Those center lines, that yellow line in the center, that's the ideal type. That's a combination between a bulldog and a terrier for American Bullies.
Yeah.
We have some of the bulldog traits, some of the terrier traits, perfectly blended into the center of the road. That's an American Bully. That's the ideal type. On the right-hand side of the road, the white line on the right-hand side of the road, that's a fucking bulldog. That's outside the range of styles within the breed. That's a bulldoggy, right?
Right.
Type of dog. On the left-hand side, this white line, that's a terrier. That's too far outside the range of styles. So what I'm saying is, between that ideal, the center line, and that bulldog dog and terrier dog, in between that is a full range of styles that we're going to see in this breed because it's so new, because it's people call it a designer breed. I call it composite breed. It's 3 different breeds. Because it's a composite breed, we still have such a wide range of styles from a bulldoggy type of dog to a terrier type of dog. Not saying that these are not American Bullies, but they're not as good examples of American Bullies as those dogs that ride the middle of the road.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I had.
That's
Okay,
it.
so let me ask you this real quick before we get out of here.
Just to explain the range, because it's hard for people to understand. There is such a wide range in American Bullies. It goes all the way almost to a fucking oldie and almost to an Amstaff.
And there's a difference between a style and a variation. Okay?
Right.
And this is where, once again, and I'm not beating up on the American Bully, so stay out of my inbox. The issue is when we talk about the classic, you know what I'm saying? This is a variation.
That's a variation, right?
Standard,
That's
correct?
not what I'm talking
Now,
about.
if you look at that variation of the classic, please understand what Ty Lumley said a minute ago.
So-
there is still those 3 lines
Yep.
on the classic. There's a middle of the road, and then there's extreme, but it's a variation, so it has its own road.
And once you
Okay?
get to the right-hand side of the classic road, that's a fucking standard dog.
Correct.
Once you get on the left-hand side of the classic road, that's a fucking American Pit Bull Terrier.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So my issue with the American Bully is not with the classic class. It's actually with the XL. And it's not because I don't like XLs. It's because by definition of reading the standard, it's very hard for me to imagine a bully-esque dog, bully-esque is a word I came up with, that is over, a certain height. I think
I've seen a few examples.
Very few.
Quite a
very
few examples.
And that those oddities are not enough, in my opinion, to warrant a variation. But that's just my opinion. You can see me at the Bully Marathon in Atlanta on April 14th and 15th or March 31st in Kansas City, if you would like to.
But I agree with that, because if you look at, like, let's use a Schnauzer as an example. Giant Schnauzer, standard Schnauzer, mini Schnauzer.
Correct.
Toys, whatever you want to fucking, I don't know what the exact term, mini.
Pocket schnauzers.
Pocket Schnauzer.
No, definitely not. Pocket.
That sounds.
I do not back that.
But if you look at those 3 breeds, it's a very similar look and proportion
without a
and
doubt.
build
Yes.
through those 3 variations.
Even with the different breeds used in each of those.
Standard Poodle,
Same thing.
mini and toy, I believe. There's
And that-
3 variations.
And that
of
goes
poodles
back to what you
also.
said about Beauchamp. When I look at the silhouette of the XL, the standard in the classic, I lose so much when I look at that XL. It throws me off.
I can
So
definitely see what you're saying.
that's where it is. Not that I'm saying we're going to get rid of them at all.
But I think it can be done though, Bully. There's a dog in California named Cartman.
Beautiful dog. I've seen the picture.
130 fucking pounds of just bone.
I mean, I
bully
like
dog.
Caribou Lou. I like Timbo.
MC
I
Hammer,
like Hannibal.
Caribou Lou.
I like Hannibal. I like MC
Grand
Hammer.
Champion Timbo even, but Timbo's a great dog, moves really well, but if you stack him next to these run-of-the-mill XLs that are in there, he's going to be noticeably different than a lot of them. A lot of them are going to look like very tall American Pit Bull Terriers or Amstaffs.
I mean,
he
because-
looks like an American Bully still. He's just over the standard height.
Once you get that tall and that long, I really think you leave, because there's a big argument amongst Bulldog people. There is that movement from Bulldog to Mastiff. And when you start getting the Mastiff, you lose me on the Bulldog. And that's just the Bulldog guy in me. When I look at the American Bulldog, for instance, it has a very typey head. So when you go back to breed type, but the XL American Bully, a lot of times, Mike Griffin had a dog named Blade. Excellent head.
Awesome dog.
Amazing head. Once again, it goes back to all the things you mentioned about breed type. We're losing that. So now we're getting our XLs with a more elongated head.
I think Blade threw a lot more really bully standard dogs than he did XLs.
Oh, without
too.
a doubt. Because I think the best XL dogs are really just large standards.
Some of the craziest rear I ever seen on a dog were Blade Sons.
Right.
I'm talking, you couldn't even fathom how massive these dogs' rears were.
But that's been my argument for a long time. The best XL dogs are just two big standards. The best pocket dogs to me are just two little standards.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it's not a... Pocket is different now, so I want to make sure I say this because there are people that specifically breed for pockets. Robert Lee is one of them. Yourself is one of those people.
I don't really give a fuck about height. I just need it to be.
But you're staying pretty consistent there. And bully, like Jamie's always said, when you shrink it down, it always looks more bully. So the pocket, you're getting there.
Yeah.
The XL, you're elongating the legs. You're getting a taller dog. You're still trying to get that compact look. You lose that generally. Like I said, the oddities are not enough to make a variation, in my opinion.
And it's really hard to get that proportion without bringing another breed in on that
But
big
it's
of a
hard
frame.
to shrink things down to scale. It's easy to saw the legs off.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's hard to shrink them to scale.
Well, this is the problem I'm having now. People are calling my shit dwarves because I got all those big dog features, but on little dogs.
Oh.
So now my shit's dwarves now because I have overdone pocket dogs, which is not true. It's not the case. You know what I mean? It's just, but like you're saying, it's hard to shrink every proportion exactly at the same time. So right now I've got to a point where I've got the height where I want to be. I just got to adjust some things a little bit for proportion wise to be ideal. And we're talking ideals. So these range of styles, you can still have good examples of the breed. It's just not going to be ideal. If you've got a really nice body and a bulldoggy head, not saying it's not an American bully, it's just not the ideal. You know, if you got a really nice bully or a really nice body and a terrier head, not saying it's not an American bully, it's just not the ideal. It's not a great example of American bully breed type. And because that dog that's not a great example wins in the ring, people get confused.
Yeah.
People think, oh, well, my dog's great because it wins in the ring. Not saying you don't have a good dog, because I'm sure you do have a good dog.
Yeah, it's not good.
Doesn't make it a great example of the breed.
I'm saying it's not a good dog.
Style is...
But you had a problem with me talking shit about rat terriers.
Look, you roasted the rat terrier people for no
Listen,
good.
fuck rat terriers.
Okay, once again, I did not say that.
Style.
I have a lot of people support me.
Style's like preference. It has to be within the standard. Don't forget that part.
That's a super good point. Super good point.
Well, guys.
Well, time's
Is that
up,
it?
kids.
Are we done?
We're done.
2 hours, 19 minutes in.
I didn't even get to read.
I like to give a couple of shout outs for James Search Breeding.
Hold on.
I'm not going to read.
Hold on. If you haven't yet, please share this. I know we're about to end this, but this will be up on the Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV page forever. So share. Anytime you guys need to come back to this conversation, come back to it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast on iTunes. Go to iTunes, just search Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, or click the link in my Instagram bio, or I'll put the link in this description of this video also. If you haven't been on the Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV page on YouTube yet, check out my channel on YouTube. All the older episodes of the podcast are on that page, plus interviews, plus kennel features, stud features, event videos. It's all on the Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV YouTube page. Christopher James on Facebook.
Bully the Kid.
Bully the Kid. Bully in the Bag. If you guys need shit flown, if you need puppies flown, this is the man you talk to. Bully in the Bag. We both use him. Actually, I got a dog from Colombia that needs to come up here, I think next week or the week after.
Oh, really? Is it a puppy?
South Carolina.
Oh, Columbia. So I was thinking you were talking about
Not Colombia. Come on, man.
Yo, I got people.
We're not talking about Medellin territory. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, I'll get that puppy to you.
Jamie Sweet on Facebook. I think she's got one more thing to say, and then we're going to close this motherfucker out.
I was just going to read this one little paragraph about balance,
Oh,
okay?
Listen, that ode.
Yeah,
if you guys listened last week, or was it 2 weeks ago,
I think it
we
was
did
last
an
week.
ode to a breeder.
Ode to a breeder.
If you haven't listened to that yet, please go listen to that episode. It's one of the best articles she's printed off. Literally gave me cold chills listening to that shit, and I've had like 4 messages about that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I should pass. I will. I'll pass that along. Okay.
Anyway, shoot.
All right. Most body faults come from lack of balance between the head and neck properties. If the neck is shorter, the front legs will fall further forward on the thoracic rib cage. The rib cage will narrow as it nears the front. This will put the legs on the narrow part of the rib cage, thus leaving big pockets behind each elbow. In turn, nature will make the dog pad, flip, wing, bow in front to keep the rear end from running over the front legs that do not move out properly. A good reference tool, toe beneath the nose. That's a lot in that one little paragraph.
No, but 100%.
But you saw that. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
We talk about this shit all the time, actually. Rolando Mana and I had a really good conversation about this. The lay back of the shoulder blades, also the lay in of the shoulder blades, also the length of the shoulder blades, how they sit on the neck. Because, you see some dogs that don't have that wither shelf, and they're almost never built the right way.
Right,
They're
right.
almost never built the right way. I love that. I love that paragraph. I think how the neck sits in that shoulder and rib cage assembly has a lot to do with that front assembly, that shoulder assembly.
Yeah. And the shoulder
And I say
has
this
a lot
shit
to
all
do
the
with
time.
this
People
right
think
here.
I'm making this shit up. She's pulling articles off the internet. That's not me. I didn't say that.
Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with this right here, too. When they get that.
Yeah, and we have some bullies that
getting-
have short necks and upright shoulder blades where they're not necessarily bowed out, but they're really wide stance, and they can't pull their head up all the way when they move. Actually, I'm not gonna say any names because people get pissed, but a super famous dog has this issue. Super famous, more famous than Maestro, which like two dogs. You should be able to figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No, but they have really short necks, and like you're saying, the connection into the rib cage and shoulder assembly, it prevents them from being able to pick their head up. So it makes them look like they're running timid. They're not running timid. They physically can't straighten their neck up to look confident. I love that. I love that.
That was a good one, I thought.
Episode 88, Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast. I love your fucking faces, people. I'll see you next week. Episode 89, I have no idea what we're going to talk about yet.
Ooh, I'll have that one.
If you guys noticed this shit was done on Friday, that's because we were waiting for Bully the Kid to get into town.
It's actually Thursday.
Is today Thursday?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
It's Thursday.
Still a day late, but we were waiting for Bully the Kid to get into town. I appreciate you every time you come on.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
The official researcher of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, Jamie Sweet. Thank you. I love your face. Love your faces, people.
Pay no attention to any of the notes. Bully in the bag, baby. This is what we're doing here.